All right. Hey, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Here we go. Thanks, guys. What's up, everyone? Hey, NB. Give me 1 second. Oh, why aren't you working? So, okay. Let's see. Hi. Test. Testing, testing, testing. God. Hey, what's up, man? I'm streaming, by the way.
Good evening.
Yo. Well, okay, cool. All right. Hi, Gigi. All right. What's up, guys? What's up, Prime? I'm streaming. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I'm late. Had
That's okay.
my kids are having their first sleepover ever.
As in, they're sleeping over at someone else's place, or they're
No,
having
we
to
got
sleep over at your place?
sleeping over at my place tonight.
Mm.
So I was like, all right, well, all right, we'll see. And so that's what's happening right now. So
So they're
the
all drinking in the basement, right? Because that's the safest
yeah,
place.
exactly. No, they're taking vaccines. What do you mean? They're shotgunning
Vaccine party,
vaccines.
right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's like instead of the chicken pox parties, we're having vaccine parties over
That's right.
here.
The infection parties.
Yeah. But yeah, it's yeah, I think I was like, why not? I guess why not? You know, they wanted to, and we're seeing we're living that dream. So it should be fun. I might have to go for a couple of minutes if this, if things get weird, but I think it should be fun.
If the drinking gets out of hand, understandable.
Yeah, the chocolate milk. Chocolate milk. Um, all right. All right here. Still situated. Alrighty. Okay. Okay. All right, here we go. Okay. All right, guys. Well, this week we had a go ahead, Brian, what's up?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. Well, this week, guys, starting off the roundup, the Fed freezes $1 billion to California and Minnesota for Medicaid. The Trump administration is pausing more than $1 billion in Medicaid payments in California and Minnesota, U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary RFK said Tuesday. The administration froze more than 867 million in Medicaid funds from California and more than 200 million into Minnesota. Quote, they violated the social construct that makes this country strong and makes our democracy function, Kennedy said at a news conference. Kennedy said California and Minnesota can get those funds back if they provide documentary proof that the payments are legitimate. The administration used artificial intelligence, advanced analytics, and traditional finance verification to uncover fraud in both states. Mehmet Oz, the administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, said Minnesota fraud came from 14 high-risk programs, including personal care and home health services. Roughly 3 million were identified as fraudulent payments tied to documentation gaps, including payment claims for treatment provided to deceased people, Oz said. So, it just does not seem right to me that they are, I don't know. It seems very ideological that it just happens to be Minnesota and California, which are the two states that they are like targeting specifically. And it just seems very odd. They're not really giving any data or proof that they are doing it. And it just seems like another shakedown by this administration.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, since they are, I think they even explicitly, as you were reading, and I read the article, like, they explicitly used the words fraud. And so if there's fraud, like, I don't know how it works, but I imagine like there has to be some sort of like that's a crime, right? So there should be like some sort of criminal investigation. And like, I don't know if it's a coincidence, but isn't this, aren't California and Minnesota also the two states that, that Nick Shirley person, quote unquote,
Exactly.
journalist visited? I don't know if that's just a coincidence, but, his whole thing was like, he uncovered all this fraud just by going around and knocking on whatever businesses. That's basically
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
But like, if there's fraud, like, again, I don't know how it works, but I assume there should be some sort of investigation or like people to point to or whatever institutions to point to that's saying, hey, they committed fraud, and we have the evidence to back that up, as opposed to saying, well, hey, there's fraud going on in your states, so you can have these funds.
Yeah,
that seems a little bit off.
I think that's exactly right. I mean, yeah. I mean, if it's a crime, and it is, then why aren't you bringing charges? It sounds like they can't prove it, right? It sounds like they don't have a strong case, right? And they can't prove that the fraud happened. So they're just shaking them down for this money, and it's going to cost them lawyers and time in order to like track down this money, and it's going to be frozen, and that's just what's going to happen. Yeah, it's just wild to me.
Yeah, I would think that if the federal government is holding funding from a state or money, devoted to a state, I imagine there has to be a high barrier to cross or threshold to cross to be able to deny that money going through, as opposed to just like, casual accusations of fraud, pretty much looking for an excuse to withhold it.
I used to think that.
That seems weird.
Yeah.
Just like in Canada, like, so even though we have, a publicly funded healthcare system, but like what happens is, like, let's say there's a certain amount of funding that comes from the provinces, but there are literally like from the federal government, like they do literally what are called health transfers, as in this money, let's say, goes to Quebec from the federal government saying, hey, this money is for your healthcare system in the province. And like, I can't think of anything. There might be maybe something that happened where that money was withheld, but as far as I can tell, like, yeah, or rather, I think the federal government will need to have a strong case to be able to justify withholding that money.
Exactly.
The province.
Yeah, I don't think that anyone would be. I don't think that anyone would be opposed to things be like if there was actual like fraud and abuse and all that kind of stuff like that. I don't think that anyone in their right mind would say no to that. I think that that's the other frustrating part, where it's like they're using these nebulous terms that are so coded like politically in this right wing like ecosphere, that kind of that are all so banal that everyone would be opposed to it. It's just political games.
And like, I don't like going down this road in terms of like being petty, but like, I think if the next president is a Democrat, like something's, I think there should be someone equivalent on the left named Sick Nurley, okay, and then does the same thing, and then they happen to visit red states, and then the federal government can then withhold money from these red states and just accuse fraud.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Prime?
It's I don't know. This is the what we usually expect from this band of criminals. I mean, with every accusation from a Republican, is an admission. So they talk about these fraudulent payments through Medicare, Medicaid. Medicare and Medicaid are some of the most regulated type programs in terms of keeping track of money that goes in, money that goes out. Like their accounting is like something to behold. That's why, because it's been attacked over and over and over again throughout the years by Republicans, and so for its own survival, it's had to be efficient and be accountable, I guess. I don't know. The point is that in every system there is fraud. Like, I mean, in a large enough system, right? You'll find fraud. So like it happens, right? Every so often, people get a payment that shouldn't have. They shouldn't have. They game the system, or it's just like errors happen. It's a thing that happens. But among Medicare and Medicaid, it's incredibly low. There are studies that have examined this. It's incredibly low. That and Social Security, right? These are tight systems. Compare that, right? Compare that to the goddamn Pentagon. The Pentagon that has not passed an audit ever, right? Like ever. The Pentagon cannot pass an audit. The Pentagon gets, an increasing amount of money. We're over $1 trillion now, right? We have been creeping up to $1 trillion for years. Now we've reached that. And then, for this illegal fraudulent war that we're a part of now, that's, destroying the world economy. What else would you expect? For this illegal war, they are asking for more money. We already give them $1 trillion. They say $1 trillion to keep us safe. Of course, we had to, right? To keep us safe. $1 trillion. And then now they need a couple of hundred more billion dollars, right? And then when you say, hey, maybe we should increase the payments to Medicare or Medicaid. Hey, we're broke. No money, we're broke. The Pentagon leaks like a sieve, a sieve, right? In terms of its money, it goes everywhere. We don't know where it goes. We cannot, the U.S. government right now cannot tell you where that money goes. It can't, literally can't. It tries every so often. I mean, it was a fight even just to have the Pentagon go through audits, right? And then when they started doing that, just whatever, no clue. How is that even possible? Corruption is how that's possible. These accusations are coming from fucking Donald Trump. As these two individuals know, right? Donald Trump is not like, it's not like an opinion. It's like an objective fact. The most corrupt president we've ever seen in our lifetime. No, not in lifetimes, period, actually. Sorry. In American history. In terms of the money that he's earned while in office, billions. Combine all the previous presidents, they don't come close. But then he says these poor people in Florida and not Florida, in California and Minnesota, that they're the problem. Actually, did you know they're the problem? Taxpayers, you're being robbed. These motherfuckers, the actual criminals, right? I tell them you're being robbed. It's a farce. It's a farce, right? Same. this party, right? You know who else is part of this party? Because I was thinking of Florida for a reason. See, Florida, its current senator, which was a past governor, Rick Scott, was the head of a company, right? This company, and they, I believe it was Medicare. I want to say Medicare, not Medicaid, but I'm not sure. One or the other. But they were convicted of the biggest Medicare fraud ever in U.S. history. The company was convicted of that. And Rick Scott was the head of it. The corporation gets a slap on the wrist, and none of its executives go to jail. And Rick Scott just goes on to, I don't know, like be fabulously successful in Republican politics. That's just like not an issue for them. This same system they're talking about, right? Like where the fraud comes from, and this is like actual truth. Where the fraud comes from in those systems comes from the suppliers, not the consumers, right? It's it is the hospitals, it is the Medicare device, like the medical device industry, right? It's the pharmaceuticals. That's where the fraud comes from all the time, right? We find there's always these stories, and the numbers are huge. But what they want you to focus on is, okay, that maybe some grandma, right, who's struggling to get by, got an overpayment in California. Your enemy, they tell you. It's unbelievable. Every accusation is an admission from these people.
Yeah, it was $1.7 billion, the largest ever at that time. And it was with the Hospital Corporation of America. So it was both of Medicare and Medicaid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah, exactly.
You were way off, Prime.
Yeah, even worse than you thought. A historic $1.7 billion healthcare fraud settlement, a major for-profit hospital company where he served as CEO until his resignation in 1997, federal investigation, which involved multi-agency raids in 1997, entered a systemic unlawful billing practices. Basically, yeah, that's wild. $1.7 billion in civil settlements and criminal fines finalized 2000 to 2003. I mean, they settled out of court. They didn't even bring it. Like that's just wild. But at least they're bringing charges. You know what I mean? This is actually going to court. The shakedown that Trump is doing, they're not even threatening that. They're not even saying, "Hey, we have a case here. We're doing this." They're just freezing the funds straight up. So, I mean, in 1997, basically, well, could have had, I guess, Bill Clinton be like, "Hey, we're going to freeze you, Florida, for $1.7 billion." You know what I mean? Is that how we can do things now? I don't know. It's just
That was 1.7 in like the 90s.
1997. Yeah, 2000 to 2003, those payments.
Billion in today's money.
Yeah, that's just wild.
I mean, like, these are the people. I just want you like to understand who you're dealing with here, right? These people aren't to be taken seriously when they're talking about this, right? They will tell you once again, it's always the poorest, right? It's always the least powerful are the ones that are really bringing down America. The ones you have to be afraid of. It's the same playbook every time, right? That's where these ICE raids are coming from. Remember, those immigrants, right? They're criminals. They're running the streets. Your children aren't safe, right? So we have to crack down on them. It's basic every time. It never changes. They use different words, but it's always the same thing. We're going to brutalize the people you don't like. Don't worry about it. That's what you hire us for, to brutalize those people, right? Like, and you don't like those California liberals, right? Not even everyone's there liberal. There's plenty of Republicans there. Doesn't matter, right? Republicans who use Medicaid, doesn't matter. We will brutalize them, right? They just happen to live in the wrong state. They live in a blue state, and so it is what it is. And in Minnesota, yeah, he didn't like Tim Walz. He had a bug up his ass about Tim Walz because Tim Walz called him a goddamn weirdo, which is what he is. He's a weirdo. Donald Trump, right?
True.
A narcissist, a little boy, and so and to get his revenge, he's gonna make all these people suffer. It is what it is, right? I don't know, man. So yeah, I don't. So like when you hear these news stories, especially when it's my fucking fraud, fraud, right? Like just like consider the source, right? Who is saying this? And then consider where, because not that fraud doesn't happen. Fraud happens, right? It's a thing that happens, right? But like, who, who, what party makes out the most, right? Like, is the people who are pointing this out to you, are they actually innocent, or are they just like distracting you from the bigger story? 1 trillion, 1 trillion currently in the Pentagon, and they're asking for hundreds of billions more for a war that no one here watching wants. That is
And
destroying the
that was supposed to be
economy.
just a few
Yeah.
weeks, right? There's
Just
no
a
signs of
just a few days, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know, right?
I don't
And they'll just
see
keep going.
signs of it ending anytime sooner this year.
There was a good sign. Actually, there was a good sign of it ending. Recently.
Debate, yeah,
And
I understand
then,
what you mean with the
yeah,
memorandum of understanding.
yeah, and I hear you. But like, the problem was, of course, once again, Donald Trump's ego. His ego was bruised because that MOU was absolutely, positively a document of American surrender, and he feels bad about that. That he lost a war, right? But you lost the war, and so he'll continue this war on the off chance that something changes, the facts on the ground change, and then America comes out on top. That he can take some sort of um, uh, surface level victory, right? And so, yes, he'll spend billions and billions and billions of dollars of American treasure on this war.
And American lives.
American lives on this war. And then, of course, more importantly to me, right? Iranian lives on this war. Just to protect his feelings. That's literally what's happening, right? What's happening is it's a matter of like Donald Trump protecting his hurt feelings. That's what you're seeing, right? When you see those explosions, when you hear about like Iran attacking those other Gulf countries in retaliation, when you hear about those people dying, this is all a process of Trump like dealing with his hurt feelings. That's it, right there. So yeah.
Yep, I think I think it's definitely a how are we going to pay for this kind of thing, like in the eyes of the public, and they're going to be like, wow, we are, like what, $1 billion a day in the war in Iran. They're exactly what you're saying. They're going to PR it up and be like, wait, we're tackling waste and fraud in Minnesota and California, and there isn't fraud in the military because that protects us from at home, and you know what I mean. They're just going to use this national defense nonsense and try to find and mine that xenophobia that they had, because beware of blank, right? And you're so right, Corey. The Nick Shirley thing. I just like what would be the analogy there? Like what would be the analogy where this Nick Shirley like video that he had, this video series, like somehow like actually creates billions of dollars of funding to be stopped because he was able to get like some like it was just I can't even think of the irrelevant like leftist or person that would be
Seems unprecedented. That's why I think
wild.
someone should take up the mantle of sick Nurley and just mock and run the same play just on the other side and see how they like it.
I don't think I see any Democrat ever kind of like stopping funding at the level for the federal government to play these games. I think that's just I think that's
I don't
just the
necessarily
reality.
disagree with you, but
Yeah.
I'm as in, are you also saying that shouldn't happen? As in, I understand I'm being petty, but I think like I think there's a case to be made for like being petty or
Oh,
like
bro,
being, you know, whatever.
I mean, I'm knives out. Like I think that you have to. Like I think like if it's legal, then that's the game, then we have to play the game. I think it's naive to not do it actually. That's where
So
we
then it sounds
are.
like you would be disappointed if Democrats don't more or less like
Oh yeah.
do something. Okay,
I mean,
fair.
the only way that the Republican Party and MAGA comes back from the brink is that if they get a shot in the mouth too. You know what I mean? Like they're punching
I
us,
agree.
and we need to punch back. You know, and I think that that's kind of the big impetus for the Democratic Party is to kind of like push back. The Republican Party isn't going to say out of pity like, oh well, let's stop. Let's give it, you know, give it to the Democrats, guys. Come on, let's give let's stop doing this. And every single Republican for the foreseeable future is going to use this newly created line item veto idea that in the guise of national defense, the president can actually dictate whatever they want, line by line, in the budget. And the OMB now has this congressional style funding mechanism. That's just it's not in the Constitution, but it's been imagined and bolstered and solidified by the Supreme Court as it stands. So I think that you have to push it. You have to push as far as you can. I don't like it personally,
That's
but
why I don't like it, but like I think the era of like civility politics and just like hoping that people follow norms is like out the window.
yeah, I mean the handshake deal is dead.
I mean, I agree that Democrats should play hardball basically and use bend the rules as far as you can before it breaks, the way that Republicans do. I mean, or they just like break the rules. They also just break them. But I disagree that will change anything for the Republican Party. That if the Democrats engage in the same thing, I mean, they would cry about it. They'd go on Fox News and say this is unprecedented behavior, right? Pretending like they didn't just do the exact same thing, right? But the hypocrisy is just is baked in, right? Like, but like I don't know, like the Republican Party does not like operate in that way. I don't think.
Well, so I don't disagree. I don't necessarily. I like would have surprised me if like yeah, that didn't end up changing. But like I don't think we ran the experiment yet. As
We
in like
haven't because the Democrats aren't fighters.
yes,
I
I
agree,
agree.
but I like the Republican Party has incentives to do the things that it does, and those incentives are not dependent on the Democrats.
Right.
They are,
But
yeah.
I would say actually part of that incentive is the fact that Democrats have no backbone and they don't play hardball. Or let's say the lack of disincentive is not there.
Yes, yeah, agreed. I agree. It is there is no disincentive to do this. Fair enough, yeah. But I just don't feel like this would be enough to do anything. I just don't see how
That's fair.
it would change their behavior. Yeah, like the actually I don't know what would really. The Republican Party it's just like so far gone, like so far like removed from reality. And it's base, right? And it's cultivated this base, to be clear. Like they cultivated this base. This is the base they wanted. Like the conservative ecosystem, media ecosystem, was not something that just like grew up, sprung up naturally. This was actually created by the elite billionaires, like literally like put money into it, just like Fox News. Fox News is a massively losing business, but then they got money from billionaires, right? They got to fail and fail and fail for years until the formula like came together and the audience came together, and then became the most watched. And this is the same for many like the biggest online conservative outlets, right? They got paid by billionaires until they could create an audience, right? So like this is and so like, and they've used this platform to spill more and more lies out to the public, and to cultivate conspiracy theories, all to undermine the U.S. government, undermine our faith in civil society, and divide us. And so like they've created this audience, and it's kind of like gotten out of their control to a certain extent.
Mhm.
And so like how do they get back? It's not because Democrats started using dirty tricks in Congress. That's not going to do it. Like I just
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't disagree. Let's just say, I think it's worthy to run the experiment and see if it has any effect. At the very least, I think we're all on the same page that Democrats can't afford to not play hardball, or if they don't, it's just like going to be a worsening and worsening situation, if that's even possible at this point, which it is, I guess.
But then it's even more than that, right? It's like, well, the Democratic Party at this point doesn't have any platform. Like the main part of the Democratic Party, the DNC itself, has no platform whatsoever, nothing to fight for. We saw this with Kamala Harris, and like, like what are they going to offer? They have nothing. That's why they don't. They're flat. They find themselves flat-footed against this progressive insurgency. They've got nothing to offer, right? Like, okay, like you're saying that these people, right, these DSA candidates are a problem, and they aren't the way that we should be going, right? Okay, well then what's your counter proposal? There is none. There literally is none. You haven't heard it. You haven't heard it from anywhere.
Oh, the counter is business as usual.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, the counter
she-
business as usual.
I mean, Kamala Harris did say that she wanted to see like a Democratic Party where there's no bad ideas. So they literally she was going around the podcast circuit saying that like
no
that's,
bad ideas.
yeah, just
No
having
bad
a,
ideas. Well, the
like-
biggest bad idea for her, right, was that Palestinian people should not be genocided, right? That was a bad that idea that was given to her from her party members. She rejected that like actively. No bad ideas. Well, this is nonsense, right? No bad ideas when she says, "Hey, I'll like when asked, will you do anything differently from Biden?" She said, "Absolutely not. I have no clue what I could do differently from Biden. No daylight between her and him. So like,
That
don't
was
give me this
not the
like
greatest
no
answer. I agree.
yeah, no bad ideas. It's like it's drivel, right? It's drivel. That's like a person who actually has no idea, no principles, no guiding light, saying yes, of course, we'll have a team of rivals within our cabinet, right? Like that just means status quo. That's all that means, right? I'm saying this to you that of course, well, yes, the door's wide open. Wide open to what, right? Who will be the loudest voices? Right? Will it be the new insurgents into the party, or would it be all the people, the minor elite that had a status and positioning in the party? Right? Well, she proved that throughout the entire campaign. So yeah, but no bad ideas. Please, let's not get distracted by that. Honestly.
I mean, I think that, yeah, as someone said in chat, I think that she's willing to hear all ideas and debate and talk about all the ideas. I think that that's what she's
except,
talking
hey,
about.
don't genocide the Palestinians. She was definitely willing to hear everything but that, right? And in fact, she tossed people out of her campaigns, who her rallies, right, who were saying exactly those things. I'm talking, she said, right? Don't interrupt me, right? She wanted to hear all those ideas, except for the one where the where she would part herself, right, away from the most powerful forces within the Democratic Party. Right, the ones where she would have to take a moral stance. Yeah, she didn't have those ideas. It's BS. Like she's literally again on the campaign trail, not this last campaign, previous campaign, where she was actually running as a candidate. She like lied multiple times as to like what she wanted. She would say on the debate stage one thing and then be asked about it afterwards and take it back. I mean, she did that. She did it to Biden. She did it famously to Biden, right? When talking about school busing, where she had this amazing moment where she says, I was one of those kids, right? When Biden wanted to dismantle school busing, and she confronts him about it and says that was wrong, and like literally nails Biden. Perfect, right? And then afterwards, when asked about it, oh, in his position, would you have ended school busing? Well, of course I would have. because she has no morals, she has no principles. So you're telling me, oh yeah, she's going to listen to all ideas, right? But the ones that will actually carry the day will be the most powerful voices, the most moneyed voices, which actually happened during the 2024 campaign.
I mean, in theory, I agree with her, like in the idea that like we do need a Democratic Party primary that is open to new radical ideas, and we should be debating more of a change in political revolutionary kind of like moment. So, like, I mean, maybe those were, you know, to give her the best possible light. You know, maybe those were the Biden presidency handlers or something, and she's had a change of
She
heart.
didn't
And
have a campaign of her own, right? Once again, being the incompetent person that she is, she just like inherited Biden's campaign. Like by that I mean like literally her staffers, her infrastructure. That was all Biden's. That was Biden's. She didn't build it out herself. I mean, I'll be a little bit fair to her, right? Like she had very little time to do so, right? So I'll consider that. But like Biden hated her. Biden didn't like this woman. Biden sidelined her throughout his term. And that's why she had nothing to run on herself, right? Like, oh, this is what I've done during the Biden presidency. Well, I mean, the only thing that he gave her was to be the immigration czar, something that she had very little control of, right? Could make very little difference. All she did was go to South America and tell all those people don't come. That's literally all she did the entire time. She was completely sidelined. Right? Biden ran on and literally promised that he'd be, you know, a transitional president, for the new generation of Democrats, right? And part of the implication was that, oh well, for Kamala Harris, yeah, no, that's not what happened. And so she had absolutely nothing to go on, and I mean, yeah, I mean, she just had no record, and so like, oh yeah, I now I remember what I was going to say. Uh, so because she had so little time to put together a campaign, because Biden was a liar, pretending he was going to run a second time, but he did, right? Complete and utter liar. You know, what can you expect from Biden? Because she had so little time, she didn't really put together a campaign, and those Biden loyalists were like butthurt that Biden got pushed out of the primary, right?
Yeah.
They were still once again coddling their own feelings, and they sabotaged her over and over again. Where she might have done better. She honestly had a shot to do much better. But I mean, again, Kamala Harris being the spineless individual that she is, she did nothing to change this, right? And she kind of just went along with whatever she was told. Again, not a president, not a leader, ever.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know about that. Well, I guess we'll see. But
she's the most qualified.
I mean, name when she led forward.
No, I'm not saying I agree with you now, but like nothing rules out, you know, in 2 years from now, right?
No, I mean, this is an old woman. Sorry, this is an old woman. There's no reason to believe that she'll be any different. I've watched her her career for many years now, for many years, hoping. Again, I liked her at the start. I've said this many times. I liked her at the start, and I was hoping for her to do better. I was watching her career eagerly, right? No, she doesn't have it. Right, but I want her to run. She's like making noise that she wants to run again. Please do. I want to humiliate her one more time, right? I want her to get on a stage, and then we can end this, because right now we'll have these conversations. We're going to keep having these conversations until 2028, where hopefully she shows up, right? And people will say, well now she doesn't have the Biden baggage holding her back. She still will, right? The genocide, of course, that will hang over her head. The voters won't forget, but still. Putting that aside, you know, the slaughter, putting that aside, like she'll get a chance to actually once again make her case. She's already run before. She's already done this before, right? But she'll get a chance to make her case. And we'll see once again that she has no spine, that she can't, that she will go wherever the political winds are blowing in that particular moment, right? But as soon as she feels that there's an advantage going somewhere else, that's what she'll do. She's done it her entire career, right? No reason to feel any different.
I don't disagree with you, but like I'm just like, again, just trying to be at least as charitable as possible. Like there's nothing potentially stopping her from people change at any point. Like I would say there was an evolution of like even like Hillary Clinton.
I'm sorry. Why be charitable to the powerful? It's so weird. right? Why spend time being charitable to the powerful? Why, right? She was the vice president. She was the vice president.
Right.
Why be charitable to the powerful? They weren't charitable to those kids in Gaza. They flattened, right? They weren't charitable
True.
to them. So, like, why be charitable to the powerful? It's so weird that we do this all the time. Let's stop. Let's stop. Let's focus on the vulnerable, right? Just like in this the story that we started off with, right? I don't need to be charitable of Donald Trump, right? Oh, if I'm being charitable of Donald Trump, hey, maybe there is fraud. Like I said from the very start, there's fraud in every system, and maybe he's actually addressing that. Wow, what a great president! There might be fraud, and he's doing something, right? And maybe this will be a shock to the American system, right? Hey, that kind of fraud is not allowed, right? Or you can just realize he's a powerful individual who's using his position to brutalize the weakest among us. Let's do that. Let's not
Well,
worry about being charitable to the most powerful people. Fuck them.
okay. Well, I would say the charitable interpretation to Donald Trump would be like maybe there is fraud, but then he has to prove it. I'm just saying like Kamala
Yeah.
has to prove it.
Yeah.
I agree with you that there's no reason to believe that Kamala Harris will prove to be a better candidate in 2028. I'm ultimately saying like there's a possibility. That's it.
Yeah.
Just like there is a possibility there's fraud, but you have to prove it. Like put up or shut up.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, moving to fraud and bad ways of figuring out what is actually a good representative or sorry, a good leader. It seems like a trend, guys. White House admits it used keywords to kill billions dollars worth of California research grants. Coming out of AP on the 22nd, 2 days ago, quote, federal agencies that determined more than 1,000 research grants at the University of California, hey, that's where I went, last year admitted that they used keywords related to diversity, gender, and vaccine hesitancy and COVID-19 to screen for projects that ran afoul to Trump administration priorities. It's an admission that lawyers for the research professors say is proof that the agencies illegally canceled nearly $2 billion in grants. Excuse me. And that a major development in a lawsuit filed by UC researchers against the Trump administration to permanently get their grants back. The researchers' legal team is now asking the judge in the case to skip a trial and formally declare the White House repeatedly violated the Constitution, including the First Amendment. A court hearing on that is scheduled on October 20th, my birthday. That's a little, all right. Let's get, the UC gets $2 billion back on my birthday. Let's
I
do
hope
it.
that's a good omen.
Yeah, exactly. The federal agencies made the admission about the keywords and signed stipulations filed in federal court last week in case against Thakur v. Trump that's been ongoing since last spring. You know, like, I really do appreciate we have a lot of errors in our justice system, and I'm not like giving any deference to those, but man, I do appreciate as a scientist that there is like a fact of the matter that people talk about in law, you know, where people actually have to prove things. They have to actually show things like if you're, you know, things happen, things were agreed to, you're going against that contract, or things you know, are the way that they are, and you get to battle that out in court. You know, I think that it is a little weird in law, it's kind of more performative versus science, which is kind of third party to nature, when we kind of like observe nature and then test and mingle with nature and then kind of like try to understand this you know, third person idea. But with law, I just do appreciate that, man, that you have the, and does it mean anything that these are at least going to court, or that we are fighting the Trump administration against it? Does that give us any hope?
Well, so I think it matters because if I remember reading from the article, like the one of the judges like blocked it, or I think it was like a temporary like injunction. That means like where the funds actually ended up being unlocked, as in like if the funds were actually unlocked in the meantime, then yes, that's a good thing. But if this is like more or less like the funds are still locked away, and like this all has to resolve itself before or let's say, you know, a judgment has to be ruled for the funds to be unlocked. It just sounds
Yeah.
like this is just like a delay tactic. or like this is, yeah, like does it really matter if the funds are blocked or they're delayed 3 years? Is that any meaningful difference? I would say effectively, there's still going to be people losing their jobs. There's still going to
Yeah.
be postdocs not funded, grad students not funded. Projects either stalled or like never happened, or like projects that required that funding and that like they were on a trajectory, and now like it's an even further waste of money because sometimes you can't stop projects in the middle of it, or if they're
Yeah.
stopped, you have to start all over again. You probably know that better than I do.
Exactly. No, yeah, it's 100% true, man. Yeah, it is true. Like, Prime, do you think that like we should have more or less kind of like fight in the courts? It seems also fruitless. Like the Trump administration is just going to claim national defense, and they have the executive order in order to the mandate, and they're the president of the United States, and they're immune, and doesn't matter. Go pound sand.
I think I mean, it's a larger conversation, which I won't divert us into, but just like in general, we need to dismantle this this national security state that like empowers presidents just do whatever. The claim something national security just like unlocks a bunch of powers to just like bypass democracy, and it's a constant thing within within our government. It's something that just at some point just really needs to be addressed. I don't know. This is just like part of a Project 2025, that type of stuff. This is an effort to dismantle the government in all the ways that it like interacts with the general public. There's not a general public program, but I mean like in all the ways that the government provides, right? Provides to any sector that isn't the military, really, or the elite in general. And so these scientists aren't elite individuals, and they would rather, in their minds, like the market will provide. The market will do all that research. There's no reason to believe that the market will. Really, the market can do some things like quite efficiently, but as we've talked about, specifically usually when we're talking about the pharmaceutical industry, right? Like it's just it costs a lot of money to do research and development. It just costs a ton of money to do that, and
Money and
it's
time.
great.
Correct.
Yeah, money and time, indeed. And it's just easier when the government can do it, can start provide that help because they're not looking to make a profit. And so, but again, these people just don't want to dismantle government. This is just one step in that, right? They don't think that government really can do anything, is a source of innovation, even though almost all of American history like says otherwise. And so like this is just another step in that manner. And so you asked me about the courts. I mean, yeah, look, fight them anywhere you can. I say.
Agreed.
Yeah, fight them. There's no
In the
reason
streets.
to. Yeah. One day we'll find him. But I mean, yeah, fight them where you can legally, and the courts have been a tool, but understand that, and this is more of an Obama thing than a Biden thing. The Republicans have filled out the court system with their people. Republicans, in general, just like for decades, have had a laser focus on the courts for understanding, like for this moment, right? Understanding that these fights were coming. And so they've stuffed the courts. Biden actually did a good job of putting people on the court. Obama did a shit job, just awful job there.
Agreed.
And we were paying the consequences. Like Trump had like a clear field when he came into office the first time, and like we've seen again and again since that point in time, again and again, the consequences of that. So
100%. Yeah, McConnell famously filibustered federal court appointments, and that was the nuclear option that they were talking about and debating. Like if you because we're going to start appointing people at 50% plus one on the Senate for the federal courts, and that's what started the whole thing with the Supreme Court. Then we're going to do Supreme Court 50% plus one, and that's what led all that nonsense to happen. Exactly right. It's a shame, and it also, this thing kind of like also solidified what scientists thought, that their grants were actually being cut because they were using the words transgene, which is like, transgene is something that's outside the body that you're putting it into the DNA of the organism. So they're transgenic, technically. Like everything that I make as a molecular biologist is technically a transgenic organism. And so there's trans bacteria, you know what I mean? And now, and a part of that would be making trans mice. So they really did think that we were using billions of dollars to make trans
This is what
mice.
happens. We have dummies in charge.
Yeah, it's literally wild. Like just the idea that they think that we're spending billions of dollars to make mice trans. It's wild.
But no, but actually, it's worse than that, because they don't think that because like a person didn't review this,
Mhm.
right? Like it's very unlikely. I mean, it could have happened, right? And it could have just been, you know, a regular run of the mill idiot. But it probably, as you know, the story is saying, is that like it was put through some sort of algorithmic
AI.
filter, right? Like
Mhm.
or they just did a control F for like the DEI, right? For the DEI buzzwords. And that's how they did it, right? So like no one's like sat there and like thought about it. It's like, oh, are these words there? They are, and so it's gone. So like when you're saying they think that, probably no one thinks anything.
Yeah.
They just didn't bother.
They're just running through ChatGPT. They literally just, they admitted to it in court. They just used ChatGPT, said find these words, cut all of them. Just it was that thing. But go ahead, Corey.
I was just gonna say, as alluded to, like, shouldn't, let's say, this be a major issue like in Congress? Since I think, as alluded to in the article, it's like, well, and as I guess the saying goes, like, Congress has the power of the purse, as in like this money is like delegated by Congress and it's like being like, as in like, it sounds like the federal government shouldn't have the power to block it, right?
Exactly.
Because Congress has delegated this money to these grants, and so like, well, how does that reconcile with Congress having the power of the purse? Your purse
so
is pretty
cute.
powerless if
Love
like
that.
someone else goes and
What is this,
swaps.
Schoolhouse Rock? What is this? What is this, Corey? That's the 1787 Constitution.
Hey, I'm Canadian. That's where I learned all my American politics.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what Prime's talking about too. It's like this new modern presidency that has been ushered in, that John Roberts rewrote the Constitution on. And I don't know, man. Like I am genuinely of two minds of it. Like one, we just try to actually get back to like a working constitution, but at the same time, hey, if the research, if the defense Department of Defense budget's $1.5 trillion now, not 700, not 800 like it was before, guys. $1.5 trillion. And they okay that, and that's just like the slush fund that the president gets to have their way with. I'm honestly down with like just saying, okay, that's the money. Well, we're gonna do mass layoffs in the Department of Defense. We are going to cut the military spending and massively increase national defense initiatives in regards to climate change, infrastructure, renewable energy, these type of things that the Department of Defense was actually already stipulated for decades, that the number one national defense problem that we have in the future is climate change. So you just say that, bring in infrastructure spending, bring in economic development through that $1.5 trillion. Like if that's just the presidential purse now, like why are we going to give that away? I think you really have to have a forward-looking thing on it. I hate that, but that's also like a huge amount of money that we would be giving away if we don't use that.
Yeah, but it's just curious to me how Congress is like, okay with more or less. It seems like their power being like eroded, like in career.
Exactly, bro. Why even be a congressman if all you're gonna be is like, what is your point? I mean, the whole idea is honestly that Congress is like very powerful, right? It can bring impeachments. It has power of the power of the purse. It can bring. That's where the investigations start because you can be pulled in front of Congress, right? But guess what? That's all been evaporated. The Trump administration and Trump 1 found out that you don't actually. It doesn't. You can lie to Congress all you want. They can try to come after you, and maybe they do, right? And if you have a contempt of Congress charge, but guess what? You just wait until your next president that's in your party, and then you get a pardon. You get a federal pardon from
Well, yeah,
it.
that's because like
So
no, I don't think I don't think it's truly been tested in that way before. Although
it
I'm
does.
obviously ignorant
Yeah.
on American history, but like yeah, like what would it look like for Congress to go after a president, right?
Yeah, I mean, we've had it. We've had it with Trump 1. I mean, they did it. They impeached him multiple times. They yeah, I mean but the problem is that, and this is what Trump has highlighted, the fatal flaw of our Constitution, that since the Department of Justice is run through the executive branch, there's no enforcement mechanism for the other branches to enforce onto the executive.
But yeah, that's ultimately what I mean. Like
Yeah.
even if Congress and I believe like and the Senate also impeached Trump, but if he just like hung around, right, and
Yeah.
like I'm just not
Who's gonna
going
remove him?
anywhere, right?
Who's going to remove him? Like how?
He's
Who
the
removes him?
commander-in-chief, right?
Exactly. Who's going to remove him from the building? Like who is? I just yeah. I mean, this is. But anyway, this is the.
And that's where like yeah, it ultimately like relies on norms.
Yeah.
Like if you're given the command and like if you have any respect for the Constitution and like the values of your country, then if you're impeached, both I guess in the House and the Senate, you should just leave. Or the expectation is you follow the norm.
I don't know why nobody. Oh, thank you, Bobby. Nobody. None of the Republican Party is playing the game as if the other player is gonna have the pieces. You know what I mean? Nobody's playing like they want the Democrats to have this power. So it feels very it feels very dangerous right now. But I think that we have to use that to our advantage and be like, if this does happen, then we have to push their shit in a little bit. Okay, well, on to our big story this week. Really interesting, big story coming out of Science Mag, basically an exclusive that came out, kind of an investigative journalism. Science Magazine. I mean, science
and
is
Retraction Watch as well.
yes,
I believe.
yeah. Science Magazine in the United States, Nature in the UK. These are kind of like the biggest journals in the world, and basically there was it's a long narrative story, but the point is, let me see if I can find the paragraph. But the point is that there was a young girl that had a disease that they thought they could fix through gene editing, and they had to use a gene editing technique that was, they actually mentioned David Arlou multiple times in the story, guys. Yeah, it's very cool. So many people talk about gene editing and base editing without actually mentioning him, so I'm like actually happy that he actually got some stuff. But anyway, so unlike baby KJ, who we've talked about many times, baby KJ was a liver disease that they fixed through base pair editing. This was in the brain, so it's much harder, there's less wiggle room, basically, less proven techniques in order to go there. There's a whole new
set of challenges that comes with stuff with the brain.
Exactly, and they basically used an adeno-associated virus, and the virus basically has a size limit, like a physical size limit, right? Because you have like the cap of the virus, and that can only hold so much genetic material. And Cas9 is kind of CRISPR, or the endonuclease, that's the kind of like the money unit, the protein unit, is big. So you need like a lot of space in order to do that, in order to deliver that genetic material. They couldn't do it in one, so they had to do it in two separate ones. causing some like problems there. How are those pieces going to find each other? How are they going to link together? There is some usually in molecular biology, if you have this type of thing, you actually have like a linker, like a literal linker from one protein to a next so that they can find each other really easily. That's if you have to do it like on the same piece of DNA, but we're talking about completely separate, things that need to find each other in space, dock together, and protein bind, and then do their thing. Basically, they were doing some work in mice, had some data that was faulty at best. And this was actually it's really crazy, man, looking at these images. So this is the brain image that they were talking about here. And so, it's funny, like these right here, these algae that I'm seeing, this is the exact same technology that you're seeing right here. This is called confocal microscopy. Okay. Confocal microscopy illuminates cells at a certain wavelength. It excites them at a certain wavelength, and then it captures the emission at another wavelength. And it's supposed to be very, very narrow. So you excite them at one single wavelength, and then you capture a small wavelength. So the idea is that you don't have backgrounds. The background is the stuff that you would get if you hadn't delivered anything and you were just exciting the material. And what I found is that it is so easy to excite anything with enough laser. You can capture anything. So you pump enough laser into some tissue, you are going to get something excited, and you are going to have an emission, and you are going to be able to capture that with confocal microscopy. That was it took me like 2 years to do this, to actually get this one right here with the dye. And you should see the negative control where I don't have it. It's pitch black. It's very, very, very hard to do it. You basically want to give as little laser as possible, and you want to have as narrow band as possible in the catching and the bucket that you want. The very small bucket. My point is that one, they didn't have a negative control here, so they didn't have the background that they could subtract, which is very bad. That is very, very, very bad science. The negative, you basically only know if you have an experiment by your negative control. So the fact that they didn't even have a negative control is very, very telling. Two, it doesn't look like, honestly, it does not. Too much of this image is basically red. Like too much of this image, I don't know these cells, but I'm just telling you from my years of confocal microscopy, like every single cell is probably not going to be the thing. You know what I mean? Like every single thing. I had some absolute stellar, like 3 a.m. confocal microscopy sessions where I'm like, oh my gosh, I finally did it. And then I subtract the background and it's just nothing. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so frustrating. So my point is that this looks beautiful. Okay. It looks beautiful as a confocal microscopy image, but it's bad in terms of science. They took this bad image, still injected this child with this experimental medicine, and she died because of that. She died. She developed the adeno-associated virus fever. She died shortly after there. And basically, they took they changed the images, the microscopy images. They changed the results. Didn't include the fact that this child died with this stuff, and then published it as if that didn't happen. So, like very, very messed up. For a whole host of reasons. One, that they basically, with the super experimental medicine, took this really huge leap and having a medicine and not confirming it, and then injecting it into a patient who didn't have like a severely lethal disease. Like she still had like years left. She could have waited basically to have a better medicine. And then two, like why scrub it when why scrub the stuff when you're republishing this? You should like talk about it, like what happened here. So just a whole host of problems that's really sad about it. And like obviously this kiddo died. And then also like what were these researchers doing? Like I can't it's so sad.
So I have, I guess I'm actually still processing, let's say, all my full thoughts. And
Mhm.
as of right now, I'm pretty conflicted, as in like, based off of what was outlined in the article, and it was like a pretty thorough article. It's like, does all of the responsibility lie on the scientists and physicians? There's a case to be made there, but
Mhm.
also, like the parents reached out to the scientists, right? As in like, I believe like the initial point of contact was like the parents in
Yeah.
understandable desperation emailed that researcher, told their story, and like doing, and he was convinced that he can pull it off. And like I agree with you in terms of like your criticisms of, let's say, their microscopy images, and like, let's say, bare minimum, poor scientific rigor, but like nothing explicitly fraudulent. But like I can also understand, like I think every scientist has been there, of like, if you want something to be true, sometimes you will like
Yeah.
take some risks, or not be as rigorous as you want to be. Just like you, as you said, for confocal microscopy or fluorescence microscopy, you can adjust the parameters to more or less get anything that you want.
It
Okay,
really can.
I can adjust the slit width. Okay, and like I can just have this huge emission and get anything to fluoresce, right?
Mhm.
And if the stakes are high enough, and if you have desperate parents in the background saying, "Hey, save my child," you know, I'm not saying this is right, but I can understand, or probably understand, why a scientist would, let's say, go down the rabbit hole, like, I'm going to maybe not be as rigorous as I should be or could be. And also, young scientists trying to, do a Hail Mary type of thing as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I mean they
And so
did
for
spend
me,
like
it's difficult.
$900,000 of their own money.
Their own, yeah. And it
Yeah.
seems like there were some interesting financial agreements that occurred
Mhm.
there.
Yeah. And especially considering and they talk about it in the article, the in China they did do, after the CRISPR twin baby studies, that was very reckless. Um yeah, early after the CRISPR was first used as a technology. Um so I think it's like kind of like it's just it's frustrating. I think I don't think China wants this, right? I don't think that the Chinese government wants this. They
That's
don't want
definitely
to
true.
be seen as like this reckless outlaw state. I think that they want to be seen more legitimate. And the scientific community, we kind of see Chinese labs as not necessarily the most reliable, reproducible data. You kind of like, if you see it in a Chinese lab, that's good. That's better than no study. But then you also need to replicate it somewhere else. First, you want to see it replicated in the United States at another big lab, and you don't want to be the person that's sitting there trying to replicate something that's only happened in China. That seems it's a fruitless task. It's not xenophobic. It's just they put out a lot of papers.
The sheer volume, that's the thing
Yeah,
of like, they're like, you can go by the metrics, like there are absolutely prestigious research institutions in China, and they're only increasing there. But
exactly.
the sheer volume of research that's coming out of China, it's like it's impossible to keep up with. And like yeah, there's absolutely levels of fraud there. But it's hard to separate the quality research from the poor quality research, since there's just so much of it coming out of China.
Yeah. Prime, do you have any thoughts?
I won't be of much use here. I don't really understand the science or anything like that.
Mhm.
Other than um, experimental is experimental.
Do you see
Um,
like I mean, I think that this kind of goes into what we were talking about before in the FDA regulations. I don't think that the FDA approves this, or I don't think that this goes through like the David R. Liu experiments for baby KJ, actually did all of the mice. It honestly shows how incredible what baby KJ did. What that was, the fact that within a year they designed and created the mice. The mice experiments did well. Then they administered that into baby KJ. I mean, are you more or less concerned about that
But
world?
I haven't looked. I haven't looked into it deeply, but I don't believe they used AAVs there.
Correct.
In
Correct.
Yeah.
It's a different delivery mechanism. Correct.
And arguably, like the base editing was probably not the cause of this child's death. It seems to be largely
Correct.
driven by the AAV
Correct.
aspect.
Yeah. It was definitely for the delivery, I think, for sure. I guess my question is, like, more or less worried about a world after hearing about this story, Prime. Are you, like, more or less worried about the world where, like, we're going to see more medicines coming from China that would be only from Chinese government approval and that haven't been FDA approved yet? Do you know what I mean?
That's
Okay.
probably in the
Well,
pipeline.
like what I was saying before, experimental is experimental, and
Mhm.
if you opt to be part of some sort of experimental trial, right? Like, yeah, you might die. Like, I mean, like, or you might suffer some awful consequences. These aren't, it isn't a finished product, and so that's a risk that you definitely take. Like, yeah, maybe the science is bad. Well, I mean, it hasn't been tested yet, and you're signing yourself or your child up for that. So, but I don't know. We talked about this, I guess, previously. I know I'm not particularly worried about, like, China. Like I don't know, it seems like nefarious. The Chinese government approved, right? Where they're not FDA approved. Well, one, like, we probably wouldn't get our hands on it if it wasn't FDA approved. So I don't know why that would be a concern for Americans. And two, like, if it went through some process, right? Like, China wants to be successful. They want to be a major power in all aspects. And part of it's scientific. They don't want to put out bad products, right? Like, that's just embarrassing to them, and so they want to have a level of rigor to them. So, like, I don't know, yeah. Now, I mean, like, I acknowledge what Corey was saying on the amount of, like, vast research, but a paper, as you all very well know, is very much different from a finished product, especially when we're talking about medicine. And
Mhm.
so it's would it concern me that, like, there are a ton of medicines on the market that are Chinese government approved? No. Why would it? There's, like, I'm not, like, there might be other medicines made by other nations approved by their government, German government approved.
What about dirty
Like,
Canadian
yeah, it
pharmaceuticals?
might be dirty Canadian, yeah, like, Canadian
Tainted with maple
approved. It's
syrup.
fine.
But I
It
mean,
sounds delicious.
is it weird? Is it weird to you that they omitted the fact that that she died?
um that during an experimental trial, someone admitted from what?
The paper, the publication.
From public.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
after these events occurred, they published a paper that included some of, let's say, the results and data from the trial with a child, but they didn't actually include any of the details,
Yeah.
well, sharing that the child passed away.
Yeah, a little
And
curated. A little curated.
yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like, that sounds like a willful omission, possibly to deceive. And so, yeah, I mean, that's fair, but, like, that's not. I mean, that wasn't the. I mean, that's a new question, but, like, it's like it kicks us away from, like, my confidence in Chinese medicine, right? I don't have to have confidence in any particular Chinese researcher, because they all of them have, researchers everywhere have an incentive to lie, right? For their own success, or to admit things, right? To make themselves look less bad. Like, there's a lot of reputational management that happens. In fact, both you, Dr. Greg, and Corey have talked about that among researchers, the ones who are tenured and just like pottering around and not like actually doing anything, right? Like there's a lot of reputational management that happens at universities. It's the thing that happens. So does it concern me that they omitted from the paper? I mean, in the sense that, like, I don't know, the fraud happened within science, like not fraud, sorry, not fraud, but like science is being done badly in general. But like, and
Yeah.
am I concerned about the Chinese in particular? Not even a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's a fair. But let's say, circling back a little bit, as in like, for you, Greg, like, do you more or less like place all of the blame on the scientist, or like, because like again, I don't know that it's fully the scientist's fault when a parent is reaching out to you and they're they're saying save my child. It's it's difficult to say no to that.
Dude, I've been thinking about this a lot. Like,
Like, if you feel, and scientists can convince themselves of positive results. All the I've been guilty of it, I'm sure, at some point, and will be at some point. But like, yeah, if this scientist and researcher genuinely felt like they had the power to save this child, like, what do you do with that? Or like, what do you do when a parent approaches you saying, "Hey, you seem to have the technology to save my child, and I'm willing to pay you," and like, not only pay you, but it seems like they were also paying like to do the foundational research. Maybe not the
yeah,
greatest foundational research, but like go through at least some steps of like mouse, primate, human.
I think that it's okay to pay for it privately. I think it's okay to be done. I think that the researchers are 100% accountable for not telling the parents that they didn't have the data, the confidence that they from that data. I think that's where, if they would have told the parents like, hey, this is 50-50 at best, like this is going to work, because we are the toxicity data and everything is showing up really bad in these mouse models and we're having a bad problem with it. Like then it's up to the parents, right? The parents have that capability and the parents are like, hey, this is, if she has stage 4 cancer or whatever, and this is our only chance, then let's go for it. Or if she doesn't, then it's up to them. I think it's, like personally, like, should I have the ability to make my own medicine and just slam into my veins to see if if I had like a year to live or something, and then yeah, if it wasn't FDA approved and I couldn't afford the medicine and I have the expertise and my knowledge to create this medicine, then I should be able to make it for myself. But I'm taking that risk. I'm understanding what the the percentage is. But as soon as you're doing it for someone else, you really have to just tell them like, hey, we don't have this. We're gonna have to let's run the study again. Let's just run the mouse model again, or let's try something else. Or especially not even having a control, that really frustrates me. That's wild. Like you always have the
I agree,
control.
but like, I don't. It may just be a matter of like they didn't have the money to do that type of thing, or like the resources. There could be a number. Again, I'm not saying this is a good thing,
Mhm.
but like from what I understand, like that data there with the confocal microscopy, like that's showing like the primate data.
Mhm.
And so it's like they may not just have had enough primates access to primates, or like they only had
Yeah.
enough AAVs for like one dose, or two doses, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I can understand. Again, I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I'm just saying there could be justifiable reasons as to why they cut corners. Um, that,
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I would say, like, I always told, because I was always in the camp, and I'm always in the camp. If you don't have the space on the plate in order to run your controls with your experiments, then you just don't have an experiment yet. You know what I mean? Like,
so, but like
I
this is maybe this might be too tangentially related, or like maybe too off
yeah,
topic, but like when it comes to human, sometimes you can't run or it's unethical to run the controls,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so like,
yeah.
what do you do in that case?
Um, yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's really tough, especially with mammalian like the models. It's very tough because it's extremely expensive, and it should be, right? Because you have to make sure that those animals are living like a life that's not just like torture and something. You have to like make sure that they're actually having some type of quality of life. It's tough, man. I don't know. I don't know the exact answer. I think as long as you're telling the patient and the parents in this case, like what the percentage is, I think that, and really relaying that, I think that and being 100% transparent, I think that's all that you can do. You know, I think, I don't know.
I don't
know the
disagree there,
answer.
but I'm just curious what your thoughts on this of like, in this context,
Mm-hmm.
like when you're literally like trying to pioneer a technique than
Mm-hmm.
like a molecular technique, like, do you think like informed consent is achievable in this context
Yeah, I
with both the
do.
parents?
Yeah, I think that you can. I think that you can. Like, you tell them these is what's the good part of the study, and this is what the bad part of the study is. You know, like that's the yeah. I think that's what you have
I'm
to
more
do.
talking about informed consent of like, actually, like, do the parents actually understand what is
What
happening?
is the good
Like,
and
what
the
is the
bad
actual
part? Yeah,
therapy?
it's tough. I mean, it really is tough. I mean,
Because like a scientist reader can make up. I'm not saying that they should or that
mm-hmm.
this is ethical, but like they can make up all kinds of outcomes. Like these are good outcomes, these are bad. Make your decision. They say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do they know?
But
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. My primer can be 17 or 15 base pairs, 45 versus 55% GC. What do you think? It's like, what? I don't know. You know, they don't
yeah,
know.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like,
So,
how do you like, if you're really trying to, at least as much as possible, reach as close to as possible of informed consent, like one would think of like it's getting them to understand like the actual therapy, right? Of like, what is an adeno-associated virus, and like, why is this not an infectious virus? How is this a virus therapeutic, right? And hollowing it out and packaging the DNA inside, like I don't know, can you get them to understand that to any meaningful? You could probably get them to understand it, but can you get them to understand it in a way that they integrate and actually fully understand like the actual challenges that this brings? Like even I myself,
No,
with my background,
I think what Dr. Greg was saying before was made more sense. That like, hey, like here are the percentages, right? Like, hey, like we don't have the data. We don't have, like this is what a full set would look like, right? Like where we could have like adequate confidence. This is what we're missing, right? Like this is we're very early days with this treatment. And so like I mean it's a dice roll, not even like 50 from like everything I've seen here. Doesn't like it sounds too optimistic, right, for what this was. um I think yeah, you should have informed consent. I think and I also agree with Dr. Greg when he said earlier that like things get tricky when you're doing this for another person. Like I agree, like with Dr. Greg, he should put whatever he wants in his veins at any point in time, I think. Um, but when you're talking about a child, I'm like, in terms of moral situations, it's like awful, right? Stage 4. Like, uh, I mean, like you guys said, like she might have had years to wait for something better, which I guess is a consideration. I don't know how likely she was to live those number of years. I'm not an expert here, so I couldn't tell you. Um, but like the options aren't great all around for like a kid with stage 4 cancer, right?
true.
Um, so, but like in terms
she,
of like trying to inform someone, yeah, like we don't have this is not a finished product. This is not even a product that's far down along of testing. This is like very early days, and um, yeah, I mean maybe we can agree to do it, but you just need to realize that like you might be hastening your child's death. Have
yeah,
to understand it. If you get that to understand that, because that's the crux of the matter, right? Everything else, the science that you were talking about, Corey, right? That's like extra fluff, right? That's just all that's saying. All that says is what I just said, right? In many more words. Like, yeah, you might hasten the death of your child. That's the important part. If they can
um,
understand that, and sorry.
Prime, just to clarify, I was saying that if it was a stage 4 and it was years to go and you knew that the end was in sight, but this was a manageable condition. This was a manageable condition, which is part of the problem. I think that was like the stipulation that it was actually kind of like, that was like, why be so risky?
Then it's, Oh, okay. Well then,
but then it's like, why are the parents, although I understand any parent is going to be, if their child is ill, no matter what, whether mild or severe condition, there probably going to be some sort of desperation there. But it's like, it seems like these parents, like they sought out like pioneering research.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Probably a little too hasty. I think a little too hasty.
Yeah. It's like, and I agree. It is, let's say, if it was never explicitly stated or informed of like the an outcome of this is your child dying, like I agree, that's a problem, that's unethical. But I would also like think that it's somewhat implicit in like you're a parent reaching out to groundbreaking researchers and experimental medicine.
What are they going to do? What else are they going to do other than?
But it's not implicit. I don't think.
I agree. I agree. It's not explicitly implicit, but I think there's a case to be made.
Implicit. No, it's not implicit. Like this is. I think what have we been talking about here for the past few months, right? People should have trust in science, right? That people should understand the scientific model is our best source of knowledge, right, and of progress, and that like you should reject these anti-science conspiracy theories. Okay, well, that sounds like what these individuals did. That they trusted science. That they had a child suffering from whatever, and they wanted an answer. They wanted a solution, and so they reached out. They heard something, and it sounded promising to them. I don't know what their backgrounds are, right? And how well they they processed all that, but like it sounded promising, and so they reached out. This is them trusting science. I think it needs to be made explicit to them that these are the possibilities, right? So that they really know, and not just one conversation, a few conversations. We're like, hey, we just got to talk about this again. We have to look at it from a different aspect. Hey, just so you know, again, we'll agree to do this thing for whatever reason. It seems like that maybe that shouldn't have happened in the first place, but still, we'll agree to do this. But like, we just don't have the data to assure the safety of your child. But we can go down that road.
So just to show, so I pulled up clinicaltrials.gov just so this is what the United States does, and we kind of, anything with the human trial basically goes on to clinicaltrials.gov, and any person can basically adversarially review it. They can go through and see the study, what it is, the study plan, all like the medicines that it is, all the publications, everything about that. They have like kind of like a layman's study details. Then they have a research review that has even more details, exactly what it is, like in scientific jargon terms, that lots of 3-letter acronyms, so it's legitimate. So
FBI, CIA,
yeah. So all the medicine names, the regimen, everything is all trying to be as open and available as possible. So that's at least in the United States side. I feel like we actually do a pretty good job of the human trials data. I think that having it at clinicaltrials.gov is a good route forward.
I agree.
I don't think that you could. I don't think
this issue of like people just, there's a bunch of stuff that's registered that just never happens as well.
Yeah, exactly. There's a bunch of like unknown status. I just put in base editing and I just got a bunch of stuff. So, but my point is, I would hope that this would never be able to happen in the United States. I would feel absolutely awful that.
But it did. It's alluded to in the article of like, now there was, I know that case that I was actually covered in one of my classes of like the first gene therapy, I think pretty much ever in the United States. I think for severe combined immunodeficiency, the quote unquote bubble boy syndrome.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I must have missed it. Interesting.
And that was a big case back then. That like did have a chilling effect on gene therapy
Hmm.
because like you know it seems like there were missteps there, but I imagine at the time like some people thought they were doing their due diligence.
Yeah. 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 I think it's only going to get more important that we talk about this stuff, though. I really do. I think that it's only going to be a bigger part of our lives. You know, these type of gene therapy medicines. I think that they're just going to be bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
Genuinely.
no, I agree. I think there's, in my mind, there's lots of, well, even just what we're talking about now, lots of ethical questions. But I think the ethical questions are going to become exponential as this gets rolled out potentially to the general public, or
Yeah.
like you have to start answering the question of like, can you modify any gene for any purpose whatsoever? That conversation needs to be had probably sooner rather than later.
Yeah. I definitely agree. Well, we should talk about it at measles, ladies and gentlemen. New record in the U.S. So basically, the United States had a massive measles outbreak from 1989 to 1992. Reagan defunded a bunch of city-based measles programs throughout his administration. Vaccine rates plummet in cities. Outbreak happens. We say, wow, we need a better vaccine program in order to do this. So after 1992, the United States implements the 2-dose measles regimen that basically from 1992 down to 2000 eliminates the United States in measles. So, sorry, other way around. Eliminates measles in the United States. So that's what people talk about when they're saying this is the most amount of measles that we've had since 2000, which is when we eliminated it from the United States. So now, we've basically hit the most amount of measles that we've had in a year, and there's still 6 months left of the year to go. That's what people are kind of framing this and talking about it in those terms, if you're curious. There's really no signs of stopping, which is kind of the hard part to really talk about this. I mean, this is one of the ones that RFK was asked about in his hearing. Is the measles vaccine less dangerous than measles? And he said yes. Dr. Oz said, what do you do in regards to the measles outbreak that's happening in the United States? And he responded, well, we don't have to invent anything. People just need to get a booster shot of measles if they don't have it. So it's like one of those things where they're talking out of both sides of their mouths, right? And the RFK is downplaying this. And I saw something talking about some epidemiologist was talking about it, and they were kind of downplaying it, saying, well, a lot of these people that have the measles now, it's actually the 5-year-old to 18 years old. So we shouldn't like lump this all on the Republicans and RFK. And I'm like, what? No. Like if there was a culture of everyone needs to be vaccinated for measles, get your MMR, and it's the cool thing to do or whatever. We have a culture of pro MMR vaccinations. It doesn't matter what year you were unvaccinated. You would currently go to your local CVS and get an MMR vaccine, or your local physician, and get a vaccine immediately. So the fact that we have it still up in the air as like something that is an open debate, and if everyone has their own opinion, it is an absolute moral failure that we've had this, and it's been allowed to grow and fester in our society. And absolutely, it's been debated now more because of the pandemic. But the idea that like, oh, anyone older than 6 that's unvaccinated, you kind of just get, you you're grandfathered in, so to speak. I'm like, I hate the framing of that. The idea every single administration should be pro vaccination for MMR, especially like measles. Absolutely, like there's no excuse.
Yeah. Well, I can't champion your message more other than to add on. It's like, well, well, where are all the conservatives or RFK criticizing all of these weak children for their immune systems? Why did their immune system not just protect them? They were
Yeah.
clearly unhealthy. They were just weak children. Even those ones that, due to valid health reasons, they couldn't get vaccinated
Mm-hmm.
and all that stuff. But yeah, I think, you know, I think what I've said before is Trump likes to point fingers at third world countries. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's one of the hallmark signs? Not that I think these are good concepts, but like measles is arguably a third. It was eradicated, and you're
Mm-hmm.
on the road to not having eradication status. Like, is that not reverting to quote unquote third world country?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that should be the messaging, like from the Democrats. So like Trump has turned the country into a third world country. You have actual signs uh, pointing to that.
Yeah, man. I mean, there has to be. We're seeing a huge outbreak in these counties, and they're only like they're not that much, man. Like that's the crazy thing. We're talking like a 5% drop, causing a lot of this stuff. A lot of the Ontario's epidemiological report was about 85% vaccinated in the more rural parts of the counties. So Providence, that's causing a lot of the problems. It doesn't take much, and as long as this keeps going, I was debating this
And if
guy.
anything, sorry to interrupt, but like
Yeah, you're fine.
as you know, like with any infectious respiratory virus, like any case counts is almost certainly, especially in this case, like an underreporting, and probably maybe a significant underreporting. And if it's like
Yeah,
2,000, 2,500 now, it's probably in reality like whatever, 2,800, 3,000.
yeah, and like what's so frustrating, I was talking to this guy about this case, and he was like, "Oh man, you guys are totally blowing this out of proportion. Like people aren't even dying from this," and it's like, well, I mean, the measles was so deadly in the 1900s because we didn't have antibiotics, right? So that's why, like, basically with the invention of antibiotics as a medicine, now people started not dying from the secondary respiratory infection that the bacteria in your throat basically invade your lungs because your body can't clear it anymore, and you get pneumonia and you die. That's how most people died from measles before, in the 1900s. But now we have those two. But now, so yeah, we're not seeing 100 million people die globally from measles. But what we are seeing, and what we will see, is that measles basically supercharges all the other viruses around it. So everything else that's at all-time highs right now, guys, it, for make America healthy again, these guys are making America diseased, over and over and over, and all these different diseases and parasites, their lethality is just going to go up and up, and it's so nefarious in what happens. 30% of measles cases goes into immune amnesia. So you have even the people that did the due diligence. 93% of people are unvaccinated. So that means that 7% of people that are vaccinated are going to have a positive measles case with a lot of this stuff. So, it's inevitable, and it's one of those predictive moments in science where like nobody wants to be correct. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to actually look at this and be like, we're right. Like if
Yeah, because
anything, we
this
want
is easily predictable.
exactly.
Like, and well, this has occurred before. And how, like, and it's interesting. This is always a difficult mentality for me to understand where like you said you were having this conversation with a person and like they were mentioning that like it's not a big deal because like there's not even that many people dying. I think there's like let's say 2
Yeah,
confirmed deaths associated to measles,
3,
and I
but
think they
yeah.
were 2, yeah, 2 or 3. But like, is that the only like if there was a virus that like the infection just resulted in your legs falling off? Is that like well not a big deal? Like no one's dying. You just can no longer have any legs. Is that like the metric, or is that like is the only bad outcome death? And if it's not death, then everything is just fine. Uh, that's clearly not the case. I don't think anybody really thinks like
Mm,
that.
I think it's how we've trained people to um, process tragedy, right? Like,
Probably.
we talk about in the news, like how many deaths they were from an event, right? And people like measure things. Like, hey, like, you know, I won't stray too far here. But like, gun violence in America, right? Like, me personally, and please feel free to judge me. But I don't think I'm alone here. Right? Like, I hear about, gun violence, and it's like, oh, it's like, at least in America, it's like they didn't even break 10, you know? Like, yeah, it was a massacre, but like, I don't know. Is it a big deal here in America where like we have those things every day? Like that's like my initial reaction. I mean, obviously I feel like deep sympathy for the victims, but like that's how they've trained us. It's like, the number of bodies.
Sure.
And in America, like if it doesn't hit like a high enough body count in terms of gun violence, we don't even talk about it. I don't even discuss it because there's just so many of them. So again, so I'll move away from that. And back to this. Yeah, like we process this in depth. So you're saying, oh, there's a big problem. Well, okay, well, you know, being a general, like an average Joe citizen, like what do I hear? I hear about all kinds of like diseases and and ailments and whatever, right? That causes deaths, and like they'll give me like a body count, right? Like it's rare that we ever talk about like something being debilitating and like what does that look like, we don't process it that way. We process it as a body count, right? Like we don't know these people, how many people died, right? And then I will scale my empathy, if you have any, um to match. And so yeah, like in this moment where not a lot of people are dying, I mean, I felt it myself. I mean, I understand that there's emergency, but like when I'm looking at like the articles, right, they give you a body count, and I know in my head, I already know where that's going to lead, right? Like, oh, that's tiny. If you talk to a conservative, or a vaccine skeptic, or whatever, right? Someone who is culturally uninclined to care about this, they're not like this isn't a big deal. Like, yeah, sure, you're telling me this is bad, but like, oh, whatever. Only a few people. So it's
Yeah.
not like you need a lesson. Sorry, I've said a lot. Go ahead.
No, no. I don't. I agree with you. In terms of like, yeah, there's been a lot of priming in terms of how we process of like, unless it's a body count, like pretty much not really that big of a deal. But then like, and I'm not saying like this is, I'm not applying this argument to you, but I'm like, but then, uh, pushing back against the anti-vaccine movement, you can use this argument in the favor of vaccines because it's like how many actual deaths are attributed to actual vaccines? Vaccine deaths do occur, but it's like single digit numbers. But you
Yeah,
know
exactly.
if there's one documented case, every conservative or anti-vax like latches onto it. Like this is the biggest deal in the world, and therefore all vaccines out the
Yeah,
window,
It's
it's
right?
motivated
literally
reasoning.
like literally like I actually did legitimately look into this one day. Like what are the actual SARS-CoV-2 vaccine attributable deaths? Like what actually happened from the mRNA lipid
Out of
nanoparticles? Not the
billions of
D.
doses.
It's like less than 100. It's like less, like we're talking like insanely small numbers. Like you're like that is one of the safest medical treatments that we could possibly know.
Exactly.
It's
But if we
wild.
started saying like sweeping that under, it's like not a big deal. Like the
Yeah.
anti-vaccine movement would be like in uproar. Like no, like they would push back, saying like no, all of these, and even then they would bring in like well, they would probably bring in my argument of like it's not just death that matters. There's autism, right,
Hmm.
and all the other stuff. And it's like well, who cares about if you're not dying? Autism doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so exhausting. I mean, it's even during the pandemic, you had unvaccinated people dying at 10 times the rate as vaccinated people. This was during the alpha variant. So the alpha variant was the first one that had the and that was the one that was specifically designed with the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines. The highest efficacy that we've ever seen, 94.1%, I think it was, is like an incredible
Yeah,
feat of
absolutely.
science, like genuinely was. And the
And that one
vaccine,
did actually reduce transmission, if I remember
yep,
correctly. The data
exactly, and
was there.
reduced dramatically. So it went like by well, after Omicron, it was like it reduced transmission by like 14%, but the alpha variant was significantly more. But basically, yeah, even during the alpha variant, even when unvaccinated people were dying at 10 times the rate, that you still have people scraping and saying this is unsafe, this is gonna kill me, all that kind of stuff. And it's so frustrating because I do feel like unvaccinated people's lives do still matter. They are, even if they're taking their own life, and they're being extremely like risky with it, right? We do still have like a fact of the matter that they are being misinformed, that they are victims in this stuff. And I feel like you have to look out, um and say like, and try to like try to protect them, I guess, from themselves. I think that you have to, but it is especially with the measles though, that's with SARS-CoV-2. Okay, that is not as nefarious as measles. Measles has a whole slew of secondary impacts that make it way worse than SARS-CoV-2, like way worse, like the immune amnesia part, brain encephalopathy. After 20 years afterwards, you can die from it. So even the kids that are okay, that get it, that survive, they're all like, oh yeah, own to the lib, I got measles and I didn't die. Like, bro, you're not in the clear yet, and um
Mhm.
so I and it increases your ability to die from other viruses as well. I just measles is the one where you're like, uh, like, do we just put the RFK's own words on loop? Like, how can we like snap these people out of this thing, man? I don't get it.
I really think something that I brought up before, like from my understanding, and I think we briefly spoke about it, of uh, like insurance can't deny coverage based off of vaccine status or due to
Hmm.
vaccination status. I think that needs to change. And
Yeah.
like it's also alluded to, like or rather this. I think it's fair to say that, generally speaking, these days, individuals who are anti-vaccine tend to be on the right, but there's definitely people on the left that are anti-vaccine.
Yeah.
But and like if they're on the right, you know, like they also let's say if I'm lumping them in with the MAGA movement, they're concerned with like waste, fraud, and abuse. Like we talk about some of the economic toll, like in the article, they say like each measles case costs the United States more than $100,000 when factoring in healthcare spending and the days missed of work for sick people or caretakers.
Yeah. How are
Like,
you
how
gonna
is this
pay
not
for it?
wasteful spending?
How are you gonna exactly? How are you the whole thing with every single Republican to Democrat is always, how are you gonna pay for it? How are you gonna pay for $100,000 per times all these new measles cases? Like
How are you gonna pay for that war that you started?
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, Brian.
exactly.
Exactly. The war on
Ooh,
abroad and at home.
but I want to ask you a question, Dr. Greg. Do you
Mhm.
agree with Core's statement that um, insurance should be predicated on vaccine status?
Um, I do think that you should have, like, I don't know if you should be able to go to regular like hospitals, like public hospitals, if you're unvaccinated on stuff like that. And I don't know if you should be able to, um, because you're just too much of a risk. You're just too much of a, like, that's so you're a bioweapon going walking into a hospital with measles, and you could end the life of a lot of people. So I think that there's a,
Waiting in the ER waiting room with that.
yeah, that's crazy dangerous. So I think that there should be financial like penalties on it, like levying it against the individual is tough. I have been really thinking about I saw this on my feed, like, and I'm gonna make a video about it. Like, I found a vaccine neutral physician, a pediatrician who's vaccine neutral. She doesn't recommend them or dissuade people from it. She's completely vaccine neutral, and I'm like, do, should we like be tracking pediatrician vaccination numbers? You know, like, and if they dip us below a certain point, should we charge pediatricians like a fine, or should we take their license away at some point? I'm kind of like down, like I'm sorry, but if your vaccination rate drops to like 90%, I'm like, okay, whatever. But if it's dropping to like 50% or like imagine 0%, a pediatrician that doesn't give a single vaccine the entire year, that doesn't sit right with me, man. That doesn't that you're actually doing harm to people. Like you're telling me you couldn't convince a single person in all of year, the entire year, to get a vaccine. It sounds like you're kind of pushing people away. It sounds like you shouldn't have a license in order to do that. So I think that the financial onerous should, and the fees and stuff should be probably a little bit higher, because they do have um, the knowledge to know how dangerous that is. So that's where I think that the fees and levies should be.
So I'm gonna put the pediatrician thing aside. Focusing on you know, insurance, let's just call it discrimination, but
Yeah.
not trying to like load that term.
Mhm.
But like, with this insurance discrimination, well, that means that there'll be, this group of people could potentially not have access to healthcare. Um, and I mean, you went even farther than Corey, saying that like they shouldn't be allowed into regular facilities, medical facilities. And I mean, if that's the case, I mean, we're already critically low on medical facilities in the United States, and getting lower as we discussed before. Um, so like that means they are locked out of hospitals in general.
Yeah.
Um, and like this is okay. This is a policy recommendation, but then the reason why I'm asking, like, why I brought this up in the first place, is because I understand how you square this with your previous statement
Mhm.
about how you just talked about how like anti-vax like lives matter, basically, right? That
Yeah.
these people, we should have a level of compassion for them, that they are victims and all that. If that's the case, then like how does that match with everything else you just said?
I mean, I let's just say if I'm a CEO of an insurance company, like there's no fucking way that I'm insuring unvaccinated measles patients. There's no way. Like
Well, that's why the government forces you,
yeah, there's
right?
no way.
Like
Can they?
regulation.
Can they? I don't know. I
Yes,
mean,
again, I mean, we do,
do
we
they?
do, but a regulation. The insurance, medical insurance is one of the most regulated industries in America. Of
I think
course,
that's what I brought. Like,
on
I
race,
don't
yeah.
think an insurance provider, but like I'm definitely not an expert on insurance in America.
The
But I think
answer
the
is
government.
yes, they do, yes,
Really?
they do.
Huh.
Like you can't discriminate on race, right? Like that's a government regulation. Of course you can't.
Interesting. Um,
Yeah, last I
uh,
looked up, of like the vaccination status cannot be discriminated against, as in an insurance company cannot deny you coverage based off of vaccination status.
yeah, they
That
cannot
was my
deny it. Yeah. The ACA prohibits health insurance from denying coverage, limiting benefits, or charging more based on pre-existing conditions and health status factors. Oh my God. That's not what that fucking is supposed to be. Oh my, that's like health factors and health status. That is like self-imposed though. I really do feel like that is really weird. I don't know. Okay. I think that I think I understand what you're talking about, and look, I think we are in a. I don't know genuinely what the best package would be altogether of this. I really am trying to like spitball and figure out ideas, like how I would probably do it if I was like clean slate. I would probably tie it to healthcare insurance, vaccine status to child tax credits, and you would get basically $8,000 a year in order to vaccinate your child and tax credits. If you don't want to vaccinate your child, you lose $8,000, and it costs you $8,000 a year. So if if that's what you want to do, that's the game that you want to play, like, okay. That's how, from what I understand, that's how Australia does it.
I think the penalty should be, well, maybe if it's shown to be effective, but let's just say, I think many parents' calculations will change if they're racking up tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of healthcare costs if their child is unvaccinated.
That seems light. That seems very light. Yeah, $10,000 is very light. It's like, that's not that much. I think we should incentivize more, honestly, but give people, if you're vaccinated, probably give you more. I do think that, like, giving people money is better than denying them services or
Sure, carrot versus
ostracizing
stick, I
people.
take your point, and
Yeah,
I agree overall with that approach.
that's how I would. But like, yeah, so that's how I guess that's holistically how I would think about it. But
I hadn't heard of this Australian policy apparently, and I think that's actually quite interesting, and I'd love to hear more about that. That's actually that sounds like a workable system, and a way to get vaccine rates up if we can properly manage it, so there's not a fraud there,
mhm.
because these are the exact type of people to lie and to commit
True,
fraud,
yes.
honestly. But so
People were literally
we
a fraud, faking vaccine status during
Yeah, you could buy
pandemic.
you could buy your SARS-CoV-2 fake vaccine status.
yeah, and so but I just pushing this point a little further, because like you push back on the provision in ACA about like prior health status, right?
Mhm.
And I understand what your pushback is here, because like, hey, like the point of that of that clause was like, hey, if you have a pre-existing condition, right, like something hereditary or like whatever, right,
Mhm.
and then you're like try to seek insurance, right, like they shouldn't be able to discriminate against you, and like make it damn near impossible for you to get insurance by jacking up the rates. So like I hear you. That's like that was what that was for. But you know, it turns out you can also, for something self-imposed, that this can also help you. However, like, and so you were pushing back on that, but like, if a person cuts off their leg,
Mhm.
full knowledge, cuts off their leg, should they still be able to get care?
I would think that there would be a psychological reason that
In
they did
Canada,
it.
they would get care.
I think that there would be someone's like not in their right mind, so I think that you would administer
Lots
care in
of
that way.
anti-vaxxers aren't in the right mind. Like honestly, like
Yeah.
like there are
True, it's a
some
good point.
who are, but like others are literally are not in the right mind. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So yeah, I would. Yeah. I think,
If they
but
think the vaccine is gonna give them 5G, they might not be in the right
Yeah,
mind.
exactly. There's lots of reasons to believe that that there are a lot of mental illness being played on here. But and this this dovetails with your first statement
mhm.
that like all these people are victims, right?
Yeah.
And so like if that's the case, then I don't know how we can be punitive against them if that is what your moral standpoint is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there has to be some social friction, somewhere. Right now, it's the getting them signed up for uh, kindergarten. Basically, you have to do it in order to get into public schools. Public school. If you don't do public schools, you have to do homeschooling or private schooling, and that's gonna be way more money than you can afford. So you have to get your child vaccinated. Other countries do a one-time fee, which is kind of weird, like a $200 fee, $500 fee, or something like that, in parts of Europe. So in a way, having
As
like
in a fee if you're not vaccinated?
correct, yeah, I'm not getting it. Yeah, and in a lot of ways, actually,
$200 seems like nothing, or €200 even seems like
exactly.
nothing.
Yeah, it isn't. It isn't. The United States actually has one of the more punitive measures in terms of like denying education. You're gonna deny a public education to someone because of vaccine status. Like that's very nefarious. So now they're not even going to be educated now in the public, like at all, like in school. So it is one of very punitive measures in the throughout globally. There was a really interesting vaccine study comparison that I was reading, and it was basically compared different vaccination policies throughout the world. That's where I learned about the Australia thing, and also yeah, about the different Euro models and stuff. But yeah, we are more punitive than most. But I don't know, man. My wife works at a hospital right now, and I do worry about people going in there, and she works with little babies like NICU, or whatever. But like, I, what if one of the parents is unvaccinated, and one of these, granola moms comes in, or dads, and now they want to see their baby at the NICU, and they come in with measles, and boom, like, what do? They have thought about this. There's positive pressure containment rooms that specifically set up for this, all that kind of stuff. But I'm like, bro, I don't want to be a freaking guinea pig, a test subject in this idea of like, are we going to be the 7% that she's going to, bring that home to us? Like, what does that even mean for her? And genuinely, I do think that it's going to get to the point where it's because physicians aren't union. I think it's going to be the nurses unions that change the needle on this. Genuinely, it's going to be a workplace.
Good pun.
It's a it's a workplace danger to be exposed to measles constantly. And I feel like the nurses unions are going to stand up and be like, bro, you cannot do this to us. Like, you can't just be exposing us to preventable diseases constantly. It's not fair for us. So I think ultimately it's going to come down to that.
But Prime, are you? Oh, go ahead, Prime.
No, you go. You first.
I was just gonna ask you, like, how do you feel about my recommendation or stance for, like, let's say, are you against pro or on the fence?
Sorry, which one?
In terms of like insurance companies should be able to deny coverage based off of vaccination status.
I'm a bit torn on this.
That's fair.
Like hearing what Dr. Greg was saying about his lovely wife, like I think what he's saying is a very valid concern, and hey, I'm imagining, my imaginary baby, in that, NICU, and then somehow, or maybe not even NICU, like the nursery or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because of some idiot who comes in to see their own kid, or not even their own kid, someone else's kid that they know, and like that causing an issue and getting my child sick, that that sounds utterly horrible. And then it's like, and then there's the expense. You talk about like putting them in like a positive pressure room, or whatever, right? It's like, well, now what we have to do as a society is work our way around these people. You know what this sounds like to me, right? This sounds like the effort to accommodate smokers, right? How, like, smokers.
That's so true,
right? Yeah, like back when smokers were more dominant, like the small amount of people would just like go into a room and start smoking it up, right, and just puffing away. And let's say
we had restaurants with smoking and non-smoking sections, if everybody remembers that.
Yeah. But like in a room, like it would just be acceptable that they would just like take control of the air, fill it with smoke, even if like 90% of the people in the room weren't smokers. Now they all have to suffer for that.
Well, we just pass around respirators to all the non-smokers, right?
Or yeah,
spark it up, dude.
Right?
Spark it up.
And like think about like, but like the smoking and non-smoking sections, right? Like that's another example I was going to get to, but like there is a lot of infrastructure that goes into that, right?
Yeah.
Like those smoking sections, they got like like air systems that like try to suck up the air so they can puff away and do that.
Yeah.
But like, if you've been in one of those restaurants with a smoking and non-smoking section, right? You know, those systems only do so much, right?
Yeah.
And you still have to deal with it. And that's just like the world try to mold itself against this, like, this group that, like, makes the environment around them worse, and actually even more dangerous.
Yeah.
Even we're talking about
And makes
smoking,
themselves
right?
worse too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, but I'm not concerned about themselves. Fuck them, right? That's not my concern. My concern is everyone else. And yeah, so like, so anyway, all to say is that, like, I hear Dr. Greg. I don't think that his concerns aren't insubstantial. They're very substantial. Like, seriously, something that we should need to consider. How we actually tackle that, I can't say. I'm sure.
Dude, my hot take is that we lost the war against smoking way too early. So we should have just transitioned to like blowing trees so that I could bring a little joint with me and have my after meal joint at the thing. That should be legal. You know what I mean? The cigarettes are banned.
What?
But it's
No,
you know what I mean?
That smells awful.
Yeah.
I don't want that smell.
It's California, man. Come on, with states' rights.
I don't live in
States'
I don't want to live in
rights.
California.
States' rights. Yeah, it's bad, guys. It's bad, but yeah. Anything? Go ahead, Corey.
From a Canadian perspective, it's like, well, because I'm bringing up, let's say, from an American perspective, insurance companies should be able to deny coverage based off of vaccination status. But like, I live in Canada, public healthcare system, right? As in, like, if someone gets measles here and they require medical care, like, they go to a hospital. And like, do I want our healthcare system to reject them? Like, I'm mixed on that. Like, I lean now towards, like, well, for the sake of, whatever, equity, they should get treatment. But like, I am sympathetic to the notion of, like, this is if measles gets worse and worse here, or other preventable, well, let's say other diseases that increase as a result of dropping vaccination status, like, that will be an undue burden on our healthcare system that is already quite fragile. And I don't know what you do about that. Just like, I'm sure there's something similar, if not maybe more strict in the United States. So like, if you require a liver transplant, but you were an alcoholic or you are an alcoholic, there are certain criteria you have to meet in order to get that transplant. I think you have to prove
Yep.
sobriety for, I think, like 6 months to a year before you're even eligible for liver transplant. Because like, we don't want to waste this liver. Well,
Yeah.
I don't think we want to waste these healthcare resources on something that is almost virtually 100% preventable in something like measles or other vaccine preventable diseases.
Dude, it's just like a level of narcissism that we have to deal with as a society, that it is I don't know. I don't think that the problem is we haven't really encountered anything like this in modernity in the last like 100 years. And then even 100 years ago with the flu outbreaks and stuff, there would be people that are coming together. There were the fringe kind of like sidebar people, I would say, but I don't know. Maybe that's not true. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if there would be the more or less vaccination. Obviously, there's less vaccinations 100 years ago, but then there's more rampant disease and spread and like people dying. So it's like we're just the victim of our own success in science, right? People don't see measles, so they don't think, they don't even know. There's someone in chat, the YouTube chat. It's like, what's the big deal about measles? So it's like doesn't even register in his brain.
If you
That's
saw
amazing.
people walking around with smallpox and what that looks like, you'd be lining up, I'm pretty sure.
It's great. Like what imagine being like, what's the big deal about a broken arm? Like what's the big deal? You're like, wow, that's really nice that you've never had to deal with that. That's not that's a cool. What's the big deal about money? Like, what do you mean? You just have you have it. You spend it and then it's in your bank and then you just have it. Like, if you've never had a virus that's taken over your body before, how would you know what that felt like? And it does. The viruses exist, and it's like, it's just, I don't know, man. It's tough. I think I think you're exactly right. And as a society, like how like what do we do? Like, what is the bending over backwards that we have to do for such a small percentage of the society that has such a like it impacts every single person, and yet it's such a small, like this is from a 5% drop in vaccination status. 5%. And here we are, and that's the problem. If it goes down another 5%, imagine that, dude. Imagine that. Like, so what is my question really is, like, what's the bottom? Where is the bottom? It's probably going to go down another 5% until it happens, at least. So it's like what happens? Like, do we actually have a mutating measles virus that goes around the vaccine? So we have to get new mRNA lipid nanoparticle measles vaccines, and then now a whole new round of conspiracy starts, and now it's even worse now again. And so I just it's I don't know. I think you have to like talk about it, and you have to we have to like stand up to these people. I feel like I feel like the pediatricians that aren't vaccinating kids need to be held accountable. I think that we know for sure that they know what measles are. We know for sure that they are trained, and they literally in that space because we as a society give them that privilege through the license. And I'm sorry, but if you're not vaccinating your kid and your kids and you're a pediatrician, you're a bad person and you should have your license removed. I think that's unequivocal. I think that's as clean cut as we can. um my wife was like, well, a lot of the conversations start at like the nurse levels too. And I'm like, well, yeah. And we were talking about the vitamin K shot thing, and I'm like, if a nurse is on the floor and you link every single case to that nurse, not giving a vitamin K shot, like, they should lose their license too. And that was a very contentious dog walk home. Let's just say that. But I'm like, we have to hold someone accountable, guys. It's like, who is going to be held accountable, right? Like, who? Like, I don't know. I genuinely don't know where
I
that
struggle
line
myself
is.
too. But as of now, I lean towards my recommendation of well, at least in the American system, like I think people will change pretty quickly if, yeah, they're denied insurance coverage and they actually have to
Yeah.
pay for their consequences.
Exactly. Dude, it's the cost of public school that is the reason why people do it. It's the cost of blank that you get backed into a corner, and you're like, okay, whatever. It doesn't, I guess it's okay.
I'm more willing to simply to do this for adults than children, right? Children under the care of their parents. That, like, I'd definitely be more amenable to this plan if we were oh, damn it, if we were uh looking at, like, adults, like, yeah, you decide to be unvaccinated, right? Well, then yes, you boost your insurance rates for that, because you are a greater risk,
Yeah.
and you are making yourself a greater risk, right? um like, if you've burnt down a house before, right? Well, then maybe your home insurance the next time you can still get it,
Yeah.
but just like your home insurance rate might just be higher,
Well, yeah.
but, like, like the children, like, I want the parents to still be able to afford insurance for their children, even though they put their children in an impossible position.
Yeah, I understand the sentiment. And like I am sympathetic and empathetic towards children. At least I try to be, and I think I am. But I understand that I understand that my position can come across as cruelty towards children. That's a fair critique.
Yeah, man, it's a regular thing with you, Corey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Finally. All right,
Evil
guys.
Canadian.
Well, another week. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you as always. Always a good conversation. And
Absolutely.
yeah, that was a cool thing, the gene therapy article. So
Yeah,
that was cool
I
to
think there's
explore.
still even more to unpack there. I'm gonna be processing that for probably
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah, exactly. Anything you wanted to say, guys, or any topic on the Rivery that you wanted to tease, Prime?
um I think I'm going to do um, uh, there's something about the war. God damn it. Hold on one second.
Guys, if you're not aware, Prime, there's a big debate panel culture in TikTok, and people go on panels all the time with like 1-sentence debate prompts. Okay, Prime gives you like a 2-paragraph essay. It's amazing, and literature to review, and it's like it's incredible. He has really, if you really are interested in in-depth, good political panels that are like 6 people, 5-6 people. It's very good. So check out Prime's debates for sure.
The reason I'm having trouble is because I haven't actually written that.
See,
the
dude puts
thing,
in
yeah.
work, guys. He puts in work.
Yeah. There was a topic I was actually thinking of earlier today, and it had something to do with the war, and us restarting it. Something Iran. It might have been about the cost, but like I can't remember right now. But anyway, when I do, I will be sending out a whole thing, a whole like long prompt on that. And yes, I do send out reading material to my participants to basic knowledge so they can participate in that discussion. Anyway, so if that interests you, consider finding me on Twitch, YouTube, Kick. Yeah. So Prime Kai, PrimeCayes. Love to have you. Thanks so much for having me.
And you can find me on Twitch, CoreyCam84, Twitter, X, YouTube, Instagram, Substack, TikTok. It's Corey Campbell. And yeah, as always, that's been great, and look forward to next week.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good week. Bye.
You too. Take care. Be well.
Bye.
Have a good one.
All right. Awesome. We did it. We did it. Foster, 1 second, dude. 1 second. Guys, I'm really excited. Let me answer these questions real quick. 1 second. In 3, 2, 1. Yo, what's up, everyone? Okay, so if I'm vaccinated for measles, am I not protected from non-vaccinated people? So you can have outbreak cases. So basically 7% of people that are vaccinated can get a breakthrough case. Then you can have your entire immune system wiped, or you can die of brain swelling, basically, from it. So it's about 30% of people have it's called immune amnesia. So it's not good, man. It's not good for sure. Yeah, I love Prime and Corey. Those awesome panel. I think it's so relieving to have that time of I kind of have like we have the debates, we have the reacts, we have the all that kind of stuff, talking with chat like I am right now, but also just having like a space where everyone is pro science and we talk about how the best way forward is. You know what I mean? It's just like it's very nice. It's one of my favorite parts of the week to go through the news and kind of discuss it. How about Hep B shots for infants? Yes. Basically, it's very important because there can be false negative. So that means that the mom has Hep B, but her prenatal work says that she's negative, and that basically the Hep B shots protect the kiddo. There's no negative outcomes from the Hep Bs. There just isn't. So it's just a good thing. It's just a good thing. And over 50% of Hep B in infants actually comes from those. Basically, it's called like contact. Where they're on the playground, or they're going through stuff, and there's some in there that they contract Hep B. So it's definitely good. I gave my daughter that in the hospital that she was born in 1930. It was new, but my pediatrician was all for it. Nice, Michelle. Yeah, yeah. Especially considering that, like the cases for Hep B, like as a kid, it's like super bad. If you get it that early, you are really, really and down bad. So it's actually like such a good thing to have. Like it genuinely blows my mind that anyone would be against it, but we live in a society, ladies and gentlemen. We live in a society, so it is what it is, I guess. I don't know. People are very excited about it. One second. I know it's black. One second. Let's try this. Yay. I like that. Yeah, Michelle, you always say yes to every vaccine. You know what I mean? That's always a good thing. Never a bad thing. Guys, this is probably the biggest development in the show, other than doing like other than I would say this is the greatest addition that I've had to my show that I've thought about, and I'm going to try something really different and unique. I am going to do kind of like a weekly op-ed where basically it's like a little bit of comedy, it's a little bit of science, it's a little bit of opinion, it's a little bit of an editorial. I'm modeling it after like Last Week Tonight, and I want to have like a 30-minute show that is like polished, that is good, that you can like send to your friends, and it's like something that's weekly that everyone looks forward to watching, and you watch it. So I'm pretty excited about it. I might actually record it off stream just so y'all watch, that y'all watch. That'd be good. What you say most fear of vaccine is due to rare outlier cases or vaccine injuries or complications? What you say most fear of vaccine is due to? Dude, they're so the cases for vaccine harms and stuff, you don't, they pale in comparison to the actual effects of viruses. And that's the problem, is that when people talk about vaccine side effects or whatever, vaccine injuries or complications, it's like they don't even think about the viruses. So you got to think about the virus first, bro. Like people aren't pro-vaccine as much as they're anti-virus. And that's kind of the point. We wouldn't be vaccinating if there weren't viruses. And there are viruses. So that's the problem. So yeah, I'm really excited. Basically, I have like a teleprompter that I just ordered, and I'm working on the script right now. I'm writing it. So it's going to be a thing that hopefully y'all watch. And I think it'll be fun. I think I'm like kind of in between two ideas. Like, do I have chat on screen? Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Do I record it live with chat so that people can see it and kind of react with it, and it's kind of like a fun thing for people to see? Or do I just have no chat and just have like a more classic Last Week Tonight or The Daily Show thing? But The Daily Show and The Last Week Tonight are filmed in front of a live studio audience, and I don't have a live studio audience. So you think recorded without chat? Oh, interesting. So because I think that like the chat kind of becomes that live studio audience, so then like if a funny moment happens, then like you can see chat kind of reacting to it. No, there's no clapping. We're not gonna add clapping. Definitely not. No, definitely not. I did think about that though. like have it like triggered or something that I like can comedically add. I could definitely do it comedically. Audience roars, yeah. Ha 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 ha. So, yeah, I'm excited. Honestly, it's the watching Ludwig's Professor L thing like really inspired me to try hard on my YouTube stuff specifically. I've been trying hard to really innovate in the TikTok live stream space, with my science show, um, with when we were co-hosting with people. I was trying to innovate a lot there. I think that we do innovate with the panel like that you just saw. I don't think that many people are doing panels like that on TikTok. Um, and I think that this is going to be truly innovative. And last week tonight is only a single camera, and I have multi cameras. So I'm actually kind of curious how that's going to play out. So I'm people actually my AI executive producer is recommending that I don't use multi-camera, that I keep with the single camera just because single camera is more authoritative. So that's interesting. Yeah, I'm changing so much around. I got to change my entire monitor setup so I can get my center camera down to head level because right now it's up. It's up like it's up like 6.5 inches. 6.5 inches. So yeah, Michelle, I think that writing in some comedy is going to be fun. And like kind of like also having the teleprompter is going to be really interesting. Like I think that that's going to be cool. I think it's going to be different. Hey, Heather, we're talking about the new show that I'm going to do. It's called, I think I can tease it. Do you guys want to know you guys want to know what it is? What it's called? You guys want to know what it is? You guys want to know? Heather, I'm making a last week tonight, basically. Last week tonight, that's kind of like science based. And so basically, I'm going to have a weekly scripted show that I'm going to record, and we're going to really polish it. Like all the editing is going to be primed. All like I'm buying a teleprompter so I can look straight at the camera. Like I'm really going to try hard on this one. And so yeah, it's going to be like an op-ed kind of like science show, like 30 minutes. My goal is honestly to have it so people watch it on stream. That's the thing that I'm realizing because I'm reacting to things on stream now, and that's fun, but I also want my things to go viral on other people's streams. That's how I'm realizing that it really penetrates into the streaming world, and how I can become a science correspondent on other people's streams is making content for streamers so that they watch my content, and making a tight 30-minute show could make that a thing. Well, I mean, they're gonna have their reactions and they're gonna post it on their YouTubes and stuff like that. So then they'll see like, oh wow, the Dr. Greg show. What's up? Yeah. So that's the rub. That's the idea. What do you guys think? You think it's cool? I think I'm really excited about it. We'll have to see. Am I going to promote it? Yeah. Yeah, Helen, it's going to be huge. It's going to be a big part of the show. So what's the name? All right, here we go. You guys ready? I wanted something that's searchable, that's unique, that could actually be different. Let me actually see. Let me let me see. Google it real quick just to see if I can actually. I'm scared here. Here we go. 1 second. Let's see what I get. I'm scared. Ooh. Okay. It is the name of the show. I'm just. Oh, dang it. You know what? This is actually not bad. Okay. The show. I have I had two. The backup one. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. I will. How about this? Oh my gosh. How about this? I'll do this. This is exciting. We'll do a poll and I'll put two on there. I won't tell you which one I chose. And you'll have to choose which one is your favorite. Okay? Whew, that thing is loud. Okay, here it is. Here it is. Hey, Bobby. The Mr. Dr. G show. Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. Here we go. This is the okay, this is it. Here we go. Ready? Ready? Here it is. I'm not going to tell you which one it is, but here it is. One of these. Okay, so you have the new show name. So basically, it's going to be a weekly like show that I do. That's like obviously the Dr. Greg show isn't gonna it's not going to be the it's going to be the Dr. Greg show, but the poll, guys, do the poll. It's right up here, right over here. Do the poll on TikTok. Do the poll. So basically, the show is either going to be called Culture Shock or Herd Mentality. So it's going to be the Dr. Greg show. This is Herd Mentality. Or the Dr. Greg show. This is Culture Shock. So that's the what. That's loud. Can you guys hear that huge fan? Vote over here. Don't put it in chat. Actually do the vote poll thing. Y'all are crazy. I mean, I'm sorry. Y'all being silly. Y'all being silly. Thank you. Yeah, there you go. Bobby voted. Thank you, Bobby. And user voted. I can't if I'm a mod. Oh, okay. You want Culture Shock. 53 watching. This is big, guys. This is gonna be big. This is big. This is for the new show segment. So it's either going to be this is the Dr. Greg show. Welcome to the Dr. Greg show. This is Culture Shock. Or welcome to the Dr. Greg show. This is Herd Mentality. And that's like the 30-minute, the 30-minute show is going to be called Herd Mentality or Culture Shock. And then there's going to be like little segments into it that we can like have fun with, little like mini segments of it. You know what I mean? You were a nice doctor who treat me with respect. Okay, thanks, Theory Smasher. Okay, thank you. That's nice of you to say. Did my vote register? Hazel? Yes, you did. You voted Culture Shock. Poll disappeared. Oh, no way. Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. Okay. This is interesting. Okay. So the winner for the poll was Culture Shock, 5-3, but it's pretty close. You were undecided. Yeah, only 11 voters. Very typical. You guys are a bunch of Democrats in here. Fucking non-voting Democrats. Get out of here. Y'all fired. So it was a hard vote. Yeah. No, I'm sorry, Bobby. Sorry. Stop. It's true though. Fuck, guys. Fuck. So fucking true though. God damn it. God damn it. God damn it. Yo. Okay. What? Whoa. Hey, what's up? Here's this. Sorry, this thing's. It always rats on me when I smoke, and then it's like turns on. I gotta turn it off real quick. It's just like it's so funny. Just like that fan is all because I have a air purifier in here just to like make it fresh and stuff because I have these computers going and everything, you know. So it always rats on me when I smoke. It's always like it's gross. That's disgusting. And then it just I'm like, chill, dude. It's not that bad. It's like oh my god, leave me alone. Let me smoke in peace. Okay, sorry. Here. So this. Oh, there he goes. There it is. I like that. Okay, so this is it. I think like I'm leaning towards herd mentality. Herd mentality is what I'm leaning towards, because I think it plays on herd immunity, and it's a herd mentality for like me, like it's like debunking and information, deep analysis, that kind of stuff. So I think it's like more of a unique term. It's harder to thank you, Bobby, geared towards your vibe. Yeah, I love the idea of like science, herd immunity with that. It's kind of a cool jam of it. It is more science based, yeah. But you know what's funny, Helen, is that we literally shock cultures in molecular biology. We shock the bacterial culture for a transformation. You know what I mean? So it's like literally you shock it, you cold snap it. So in my brain, it's like, oh, culture shock. Oh yeah. That's what we do. I like herd immunity. I mean, herd mentality. See, there you go. But culture shock might fit more buzzwords. Yeah, herd is a different one. Herd mentality. Culture shock is different, yeah. Herd, like as in herd immunity. Herd mentality? Oh, interesting. Michael in YouTube chat saying the same thing. That's interesting. Herd is HEARD. It's a cool wordplay. Interesting. Huh. That's an interesting idea. I'd never even thought about that. Herdtality. What? Herdmentality.io. They recommended that I get the .com just in case. Cultureshock.inc. I'm a musician, and you're like bringing in that thing. Herd immunity. Oh, that's interesting. Herd immunity. I like that, Hazel. That's good. Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to see. I like Culture Shock though. This is my original. Okay, cool, user. Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited. I think I'm really excited. So I've been writing the script. I've been working on that. I want it to be funny, but then I've never written jokes before though. You know what I mean? Like I've never written jokes, so I'm just like putting like an outline together of like big topics that I want to cover, ideas that like I really want to bring. Uh, and obviously it's going to be topics that we kind of like already talk about a lot, but I don't know if I can make mom jokes, Ellen. It would be funny though. Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed. Not opposed. So we'll have to see. Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm gonna do it this week. The teleprompter gets here on Saturday, and I'm gonna get everything situated with the monitors and stuff tomorrow, and then yeah, and then I'm gonna record it this weekend for sure. Probably record it on Sunday, but change the cameras and stuff tomorrow, finalize the script, and then shoot it on Sunday. So you do have some good natural joke tangents that are my favorites of ABWNet. So that was the thing, like whether or not I make an outline and then kind of, because normally like when I make a speech, the panel was really good, 64K. You actually on YouTube, you can go back right now and watch it if you wanted to. It was good though. The whether or not to have it scripted or not, like that's a really interesting question. I've never done anything scripted in a show before. So I kind of like, honestly, I want to try to, oh, no way. Andy, what's up, brother? Guys, follow Andy, man. This guy, he's incredible. Genuinely so like thought-provoking, intelligent, really challenges. I have no idea why I'm not vegan because of him. I think about him every day. In the best way. In the best way, brother. Like just seriously. Really, really fun content, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate you for saying that. That's really nice of you. Yeah, I'm talking about a show that I'm doing now. I mean, it's going to be like a last week tonight scripted show, and the question was, I was like, am I going to do it outlines or am I going to do an actual script and read the script? And that's going to be really interesting. I don't know. What is your type of humor? That is the question. That's the question. Yes, Andy. Yeah, that's his name. Dad humor. Oh, Sanish. I didn't know that. Oh, that's right. 64K. I remember Sanish. Do natural instead of script. I think though, like with the teleprompter, you can like read lines really naturally with the teleprompter. I think that you can make it really good. When you're watching Last Week Tonight or Jon Stewart or something like that, they practice the product so it's smooth and it's good. Your off the cuff is funny too. You guys are very nice. But you also, there's lots of flubs that I do and lots of filler that I put into the speech that like if I want a nice polished show, it's way better to like, I want this to be tight. I want this to be good. Everything is high production value. And I think that I definitely need to like nail some lines specifically, and I want to think about how I want to say things, and I want to say them specifically, if that makes any sense. I could try the different titles. Yeah, Hazel, you're right. How about posting a short or something? Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, the teleprompter is interesting. So I got that coming tomorrow. And I'm writing it. Got some jokes. Gonna be making fun of some people. You know, we'll see. It's all the same. It's all the same. Yeah, user. Well, I'll let yeah. Um I'm really excited about it. Thank you. Thank you, Sanish. So yeah, I'm pumped with it. I need someone. I need something. Thank you, Hazel. I think I want to. Yeah, I just want something that I can package and present to someone and be like, hey, check this out. You get to work at your acting skills at the same time. Exactly, user. Genuinely, that is something that I like have thought about for sure. Like being able to host and like, because basically, like, Jon Stewart and John Oliver are they're hosting their shows, and I'm saying that's what I'm doing. So you can have my live show and then you have my scripted show. You know what I mean? There's two separate avenues. And then once I put out the video and it does like super well, people can hop into my live stream and like watch and hang out too as well. So I'm telling you, watching that Ludwig lecture, like it was so funny. I'm probably the only person that watched it out of the millions of people that actually took it to heart enough to actually completely change and try some new topic. And he'll never know my name. He'll never know like that he ever had an impact on me. Nobody will ever send this to him or clip this to him. But Ludwig and Professor L had a huge impact on my social media career, I think. It's kind of Helen, I don't know if one of my commercials is going to be on air soon. I think it's like I'm on their Instagrams and I'm looking for their stuff, but I can't find it right now. You see? Doo, doo. No. Oh, wait. Oh, I was on this. I was on this shoot right here. I was on this shoot, but I'm not here yet. So they're just like they're saving my stuff. Yeah, like I was on this shoot. Oh my gosh, I did that exact. No, there wasn't that room. Yeah, yeah, this is the room. Okay, so 2 days ago they started posting it. So she was actually there right before me. So they're gonna start to like actually using yeah, I was there for this shoot. It's ridiculous. Like, yeah, it's coming soon. Yeah. What about a team for content creation? Are you thinking of something? I mean, I'm working with someone now to be an editor. Um, I've honestly really, I would, yeah, I need someone. It would be great to really like have It's really tough. I think it's really tough. The big content creators have like one editor per, and each editor will have a video per week, you know, and that's like the main amount that they can watch, because it's like they're parsing through so much content that I have. So I would need like multiple editors, which I wouldn't mind having, but because I'm really trying with my show now and my content to like make something that's different. Like I did. So you guys remember, I had a intro that I recorded. Let me show you. I'm curious. I recorded an intro to the thing, and it was like, it felt weird. It felt weird, and because it didn't land, and I was like, I had to like, but then I can fix it in post so easy. It's like amazing. You have an editor right now doing your clips? No, it's just me. Yeah, it's all me. Yeah. Well, I have someone that's helping me with like safe ads, and I think the first project's going to be this show. So that's the big thing. Oh, thank you, Sanish. Yeah. It's really this polished show is going to be the biggest ask, I think. So that's what I want to focus on first. That makes sense. Nope. Okay. There. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. So I really tried on this video on menswear. So this is so weird. I hate watching videos of myself, but this is a loss. I'm an actual university professor. I taught microbiology, and I want to tell you and talk to you about Professor Ludwig. I think it's an awesome example. Boom. See that? Look at this meta. Look at this meta, guys. This is who's this guy? Who's this guy? What is this? That little, like, those, look at how many edits there are in the first 10 seconds. It's the first minute. So Ludwig made a lot about, it's the thumbnail, the title, and the first minute. That's the first, that's called packaging. And that's like what I need to work on. So my show is gonna have like a really tight first minute. I'm gonna probably think about that exclusively tomorrow. But just to make it, like, I recorded it and it was loose, but then I tightened it up so that it flowed together. I'm an actual university professor. I taught microbiology, and I want to tell you and talk to you about Professor Ludwig. I think yeah, I didn't, there was no tension there. 10 seconds is very important. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Heather, yeah. As soon as like you think about being recorded or being on TV or whatever, that you're done. You're done. It's very tough. But yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot. I've been doing I want to produce something. And I mean, people had like, classically, people say like video essays or something like that, you know, like, and I think the difference is like there are 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour video essays. Well, we're basically people just read through a script. And I think what I want to do is make it so I'm like performing live. That's the difference. So I really don't want to be, I don't want it to be like the typical video essay. I want it to be like some type of performance. So this is like a live taping, you know. I do think that is good. And make it so it's something that I rehearse, I I practice my lines, and then as soon as it goes live, it's like boom, let's go. One take, done, and then on to the next thing. I think that's good, because even the flubs and stuff will add authenticity to it, and that's how I'll really differentiate my show. And I think that that's going to be good. It's interesting that last week tonight, and John, the Daily Show has multi-camera. They do flash to one side to the other, which is kind of interesting. The Last Week Tonight doesn't, though. Last Week Tonight is just straight on, and it was interesting. The Quad was just talking about how it seems more authoritative if you're not camera switching. You're locked in, and you're just boom. So I don't know. It's kind of an interesting take. I don't know if I agree. So we'll have to see. I found being natural is hard. Yes, Anisha, I know exactly, man. I totally agree with you, man. It is. It's tough. Did you see the Daily Show with John with the Trump doppelganger in the background? No, I didn't. Not with the Trump one. I'm thinking you'll need pop-ups or graphs, just like topic picks to the side. Or yep, yeah. So just like I'm gonna do the whole thing. Basically I'll do it live though. The graphs and everything, I'm gonna switch live. So that'll be like me pushing, and the Chiron too. So the elements are the Chiron at the bottom for the Last Week Tonight, and then the little square that's like over here. And yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. It is ambitious. I think it is. Yeah, but it's basically like a PowerPoint. I'm gonna basically make a PowerPoint, and then have one of my stream decks, have that be the PowerPoint slide button, and then have the Chiron be another one. Yeah, exactly. Yes, Anish, it's going to be a lot of like building templates and making it. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be totally different. I'll probably just make a completely new OBS profile. Just make a brand new slate, and then, yeah. I'm finally getting my stream set up where I like it, though. I like it like this, so. I don't know if I like chat on screen, but it's more content for people. And I think that is what it is. Plus having a unified chat between YouTube and stuff. It is funny there is the different communities and stuff too. And different streamers that have combined chats actually hate that. They don't want to see chat from the other chat. They're like, get out of here. You're a lesser, or you're a different chat. Yeah. There's definite need for a learning science-based current topic show using facts and humor. Yeah, exactly, Hazel. Like there's such there is a vacancy, right? With like a good science humor, that kind of lens. Like obviously politics will be in it, but I don't know if I'm going to be strictly doing politics op-eds. I think the whole point is me having some type of science angle. And then Last Week Tonight was really interesting in how they go really deep into issues. They go really deep, like in the research, and obviously they have a budget they can spend and like do like enormous pranks and that kind of stuff. I don't have the budget for any of that, obviously, but the idea of going really deep on a research subject and having things to actually show that's like, yeah, this is different. You're actually going to learn something here. Um, I think that's so cool. So it's gonna be like basically learning, even though you didn't want to learn, kind of thing. You know what I mean? So yes, user, exactly. Deep into topics, but also choose topics people not they won't know they should care about. Exactly. Exactly. And like they last week tonight does a good job of like the head fake. They're like, we're gonna take it this way. You think it's in the first 5 minutes, you think it's gonna be about this, but then the final 15 minutes is like the real meat and potatoes, and it's a really interesting thing. And like you're like, whoa, how wild is that subject? I had no idea. Really, Heather? I didn't see you. I didn't see the message. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm trying hard. I'm gonna try hard. I'm gonna try hard. So um nice, Sanish. Am I the only one? There's two in YouTube right now. Yeah. I think you yeah. Oh, weird. Why aren't you showing up on the shared? Dude, the shared chat sucks. Like to actually get it to show is like, because nobody works well. Oh, Michael, what's up, dude? Nobody works well with TikTok. It's like TikTok is very they're very weird. Okay. I'm gonna test again. Yay, it works now. Yeah. But we can tell them TikTok filter check because that comment didn't show. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, but usually like my admin side, like I should be able to see a filtered message unless it's like oh my gosh, are you serious? You just mentioned Facebook and that was it? That's funny. Yeah, I'm excited, guys. I'm really excited. I think it's gonna be cool. I think like what I wear is kind of an interesting question. I'm thinking about wearing like a tie because that's what all the late night shows like wear. So I think that would be kind of fun. I love dressing in a tie, and I don't normally get to, so I'm kind of like dressing up for, you know, dressing up for it. Um, I'm excited about it. Only a tie. No, F1. Not only a tie. Okay, I'm gonna have a shirt and pants on and a jacket too. Okay, it's not just a tie. All right, that's that modeling gig comes out next week. Okay, not tomorrow, not this weekend. Okay. Last week tonight, Bax show info with receipts. Exactly, Hazel. And then Oliver makes dull facts necessary knowledge with truth and power. Exactly, it's a really good way of putting it. And he makes it funny too. He makes it funny. Yeah, what kind of show is that? Can you imagine someone just wearing a tie and talking something really serious? Like actually. So yeah, I need to do something. I need to contribute something to YouTube that is unique and different and good. And I need to really work on my thumbnails. I think that that's the biggest thing. So now I have like Mr. Beast and Ludwig both said that they usually have the thumbnail done before they even have the video done. So the thumbnail is like made before the show, and then they make a killer thumbnail, and then they make a show to match that thumbnail. So it's very interesting. It's like when someone wears a tank and short shorts. I mean, it was less than that at the rave, Bobby. There's so funny. It's so funny the amount of clothes that a guy can wear and get like looks when like women wear bikinis around, and it's okay, you know? I'm like, dude, like give me, yeah, we went to Into the Horizon, Bobby. It was, dude, it seriously, it is so cool. Into the Horizon is such an awesome location in downtown. I absolutely love it. It's really, really fun. Right on the um right at the bottom, right at the bay. Yeah, it was really fun. It was beautiful. It was just like a sunset over the bay, and it was just like, whoa, it was so beautiful. It was really cool. Really fun. Right at the waterfront. Yeah, it's really cool. Yo, Chase teaches physics. What's up? So, yeah, I'm excited, guys. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. We'll see. It's the red high heels. Oh, dude. Mm-hmm. Of course, of course. It's the red high heels are just off of camera. Yeah. So hopefully we'll see how it goes. I don't know what the thumbnail will be. I don't know. The title is the the AI wants to call it "Make America Diseased Again" is the title. MADA, yeah. Is that good? Make America Diseased Again? Is that good? Mm. Is that dang really? Okay. All right. I like this. Okay. Oh my gosh, Chase, that's so good. And YouTube, measles arrived because we grifted grifted America, MAGA. That's good. The Make America measles again. Mama. Mama. Oh my gosh. Heather, that's interesting. Mama. Mama. That's good. That's good. That's good. Yeah. I'm excited though. I just want to do something fun and different, and I'm excited about it. It feels like I'm always, I don't know what it is about the show and this platform and this like social media idea, it really is an reflection of me in my brain where like every 3 months we're just going to completely change the show over and we're going to do something different. Thank you, Heather. Thank you. But you know what I mean? It's like it really is a reflection. I just get super stoked about like really work hard like 3 months for something and then I change it. And then I work really stoked and then 3 months and I change it. I don't know what I'm looking for, if I'm looking for something when I do this, or and in my life, I always get to these moments and I'm like, do I persevere and go through this hurdle, or is this a hurdle or is this a roadblock? You know? And then for sometimes I'm like, this isn't worth going back to, you know? So I think you gotta like trust yourself, you know? You gotta like trust yourself on if you're not willing to pour yourself into it, then like why sacrifice for it, you know? I haven't done the Seth Meyers Mimic RFK, I haven't seen it. They are very annoying. Heather, I hate character on it's true. Yeah, user exactly. The flashcards and stuff going. That was wild. The problem though, the problem with that was that it was so bad. It videoed really poorly. It's really frustrating actually. Like the TV and it just completely it's cool to have it on the backdrop as something that's like different, you know? I think that it is fun, but a really it's hard to it didn't look on camera like I wanted it to. That's the thing. It didn't look on camera like I wanted it to. It looked too bad, too poor. Like Frank, his LED behind him is like incredible. It looks so good, and that thing looks like dog doo doo. So that's kind of like I think you got to like know when to cut your losses too. I don't think that displaying it on the screen was what I on a TV like that was the best way to do it. I still use it for my content, like for my editorials. I'll record it for my show, so that I think that it's my editorial, so it is good. I informed like 20,000 people related to minutes. Oh my god, I feel so bad for y'all like that were in it for the first like couple shows. I was like, my intro was the same thing every single time. And I feel so bad. I just think of things, like think of things to say. And it was just like facts off that I had on from the top of my head, but I used the banana fact so many times. Oh my god, I feel so bad for you guys. Did you hear about the pro golfer who called Daddy Trump to reverse a few points from? No way. Are you serious? Oh my gosh, that's so bad, Heather. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I thought it was cool, like I thought it was a cool idea. Um, at the end of the day though, like the performance isn't for the people that it's not for the viewers. That actually is the problem. Like it isn't something that the viewer would want to watch, if that makes any sense. You have to cut them to the best cut of that show and the best reactions. I could see it in a really highly coveted, really good edit. But the problem is the reaction and the conversations that you get are like, oh wow, I didn't know that. That's cool. Thank you. That's really cool. I really like what you're doing. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna give you a follow. Okay, bye. And you're like, bro, like, are you? I'm doing so much work up here. Like, I'm doing so much work right here, and you won't even engage or say more than a sentence, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, give me something. Like, what's going on? I was really doing like a full performance, you know, every single one. It was exhausting. It was absolutely exhausting to do that science show. I could barely do 2 hours, like barely. Because I was in full professor mode, you know, like carrying the conversation, talking about all the facts, bringing up everything. I was like, oh my God. I love that, Chase. That's funny. The worm in RFK Jr.'s brain probably talks to him about pseudoscience like the Green Goblin mask. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I just need to take calls. I don't mind, like, I don't mind debates being something that I do, but like nobody cares about you talking to some random dude. You know, it doesn't video well. Like, because again, a lot of them are stupid and like points that they're making, you know, that are just not logical. And it's really, I don't know. But then again, like Dean is like averaging like 30,000 a day on TikTok. It's absolutely wild. So I'll come talk to you. Thanks, Jade. But that's the thing. People don't want like good, kind conversations too. People want like adversarial debate content where you're tearing each other up and all that kind of stuff. And like, I think that there's a place and a time for that. Don't get me wrong. But like, I feel like you got to be, you know, like worthy of it. Dean had 11 million views today. Wow, that's crazy. All right. See you, user. Have a good one. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. When I was debating every single day, I mean, that's the longest I've done anything on TikTok, and that's where I grew my entire audience basically, and all my followers was doing debate talk content. Since I've like transitioned to this science show / react stuff, like it's like stalled like my entire growth of my channel. So I definitely, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. I really just I care less and less about numbers and metrics and more about like just making a product that I really like, that I know I can do really well. And then but also like I do think that making a video for YouTube is like its own skill that I want to try. And so that's also it too. I'm like, maybe I want to try hard on YouTube for, you know, as opposed to TikTok debate content. And what goes really well on YouTube. And it's like the guys that are getting 1 million views per videos looks very different. Like Joe Bart. Have you guys seen his videos? Okay, think about like let's I want to watch this and like think about this in an adversarial view, okay? Think about this in an adversarial review, okay?
It's very possible you've watched
Okay.
dozens of my videos and never tuned into my stream.
So Ludwig right here is doing, he recorded this. Why is this not like this? So in like previously, okay, I would have thought that this was, you know, him, like the old style of YouTube videos used to be sleepover update. They're doing good. Yeah, they're doing great up there. They used to YouTube videos the first minute was like the best clips of the video, right? So it like gave you a teaser trailer of what the entire video was, right? And now like people are doing this thing. This is like the new meta. So he's created another video where he's recorded a intro video separately, and then he's also doing voiceover for his editors to say what's happening inside the video here. So it's like people used to just have the video, but now it's like a second layer meta video editing, if that makes any sense. Well, let's watch.
Stream. It's very possible you've watched dozens of my videos and never tuned into my stream. But if you have recently, you might have noticed I've become more irritable. At first, I thought it was because of age. You know, I'm 31 now. I don't have this.
So it's like setting up the premise of the entire video right now. Like he has the problem, right? He's irritable.
Same energy I used to when I was 25 doing the same job. But then I realized the actual problem. Twitch chat. You see, the problem with Twitch chat is that they gnaw at you like a fucking rat, biting at your last nerve until all the patience.
So the tight, like the background video, the background music, the tight shots, the close-ups when the close-ups, right? It pulls in really close and then it comes back out and then it continues in. Don't listen to like whatever this
is gone. And I recognize that it's
so and now it's break, and now he comes back, and now he's really like performing this too. He has a script that he's reading.
Made me a bit combative.
He's definitely a teleprompter. He's reading right on it, or he's memorized his lines.
I can't help him, you dumb we're going on members only. That's why I don't stream this game. You are actually inbred. I believe you guys.
So he records videos on stream. He streams, and then he has these VODs and these moments. But then the third tier now is these videos, these heavily edited videos that are meta on his content already. Does that make sense? This is the content that I needed to have. Like I need to have this content. I need to have this content with a third tier of my content. You know, he calls it the content funnel. So at the top is your stream. Your second one, like, so today the VOD would be the stream panel, and then my second one would be me talking to chat or whatever, right? 2 VODs. And then the third one it'd be like this meta conversation, like, well, a bunch of other stuff like come together. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough for me as the content creator to do stuff like this. It's like, it's very like out of myself, you know?
To have a malady in your head. So I've decided to take a new approach.
Again, going back to the premise, going back to the thing.
If I think somebody is saying something I find to be ridiculous, well, I challenge them. And that just happened to me the other day while I was playing Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. You wouldn't do a single lick of damage. I wouldn't do a single lick of damage. You're really trying to bet? You're saying I wouldn't do a single lick of damage? You wouldn't? You'll...
I can see you need an editor. Yeah, I need like multiple editors. I need one for yeah, it's crazy. I think it really is something that is crazy. So yeah, he has a team of editors that's going multiple channels, but each editor only does 1 video a week, and they make like 15 grand a month. So like they put out 1 video a week, high quality, and there it is.
You would take a 2-week ban. If I don't do a single lick of damage, I get to time you out for 2 weeks. Yes? 3 weeks. Give me a year. Okay, motherfucker. Okay, fucking piece of shit, fucking asshole. For context, Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
So again, this is voiceover again. So he just cut to this, and then now he now he's voiceover kind of like saying what's actually happening on the screen.
Resynced is a remake of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, the game that came out like 13 years ago.
Follow and I'll kill you.
Follow me and you'll learn how to discover movement in the game.
Come on, mate. We're off to a bad start.
Things like jumping, double jumping, and climbing.
My business bears greater purpose than a thief like you could comprehend.
Capitalize P purpose, what does that mean?
I warned you. Why
Lock
the
on,
ill
middle mouse
temper?
click.
Hiding something?
Left click attack.
Let's make a deal.
Armor break, now what?
I want to actually watch this, but
What
like,
about Radon, bro?
okay, so that was Ludwig has like probably the tightest edits that I'm like, damn, he has 7 million videos. So that's what I'm saying. Like these type of like videos, there's science videos, you know, that are out there. There are videos out there, but there's no like science videos like this that have this setup, these types of like levels of content. You know what I mean? I love his style, and I love Joe Bart's editing style.
We have opened a lot of Pokemon cards over the years, and every time we open it, you might notice a little
So she just had a clip there. Now he has voiceover again.
sign that says the value that the card would be.
It's the freaking voiceover, and that's the thing is like in order to have a voiceover, you need to have a script. So every one of these videos has a script that they're writing, that they're editing, that they're rehearsing, then they're recording. Every single one.
If it were PSA 10, if you don't know.
But like if you don't know what the video is, you're immediately getting off of it. And you need the clips for the scripts. That's a good question. I think that you have the idea based off of the larger higher up funnel, you know what I mean? And out of the available information that week, you have like clips that you can cut from and create a really tight video from. I think that's the idea. So that I think that's what happens. That's just, yeah. Joe Bart has been, he's another another person I'm taking in like inspiration from. His thumbnails are so easy. They're so like they're the same thing every time. It's very weird. Like literally, look at that. It's literally the exact same reaction. There are different pictures though. And he just reacts to so many videos, and he gets
the
like
5 worst periods to be.
So he literally just like he'll get millions of views on these react videos. Like it is genuinely wild.
Alive in history.
There have been moments in Earth's history where being alive was almost impossible. Periods where the planet turned against every.
So it's like, so what do I do? Like I can't be Joe Bart like right now. I can't just make Joe Bart videos, you know? But I think the idea is, so this one's gotten 500,000 video views in the last day. That's crazy. That is so
There have been
wild.
moments in Earth's history where being
And this-
alive was almost.
And this got 291,000 in. Okay. Wow. So see, so he's just recorded this the 24th. Look at this video, this graph right here. That is wild. Starts out 7 days, 10 days after it's published, only 200 views, and then just rocket ships up. In 1,700, 2,000, 3,500, 14,000. In the matter of 3 days, 63 to doubles from 63 to 120 in 2 days. Just keeps going up. That's wow. This video is insane. That's the other thing, like, because I see some of my videos that are like really low, and I'm like, dang, hopefully they just get pushed in the algorithm. That's another thing that I'm realizing, that like, because debate content is you're talking about current events, like nobody wants to watch an old debate unless you're debating a topic. But if it's just like some random person on TikTok that just wants to talk about the news and politics of the day, you're really limiting yourself, like really bad. So having someone that you're actually like creating content for, like I mean, it's called evergreen content, but the idea is that people can make it. You have to do things better or different with that's available. Exactly, hashes. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I want to make science videos in the guise. Ludwig is honestly I would say Ludwig more than Joe Bart, but I would love my videos to go on channels like Joe Bart. That's what I'm saying. I need to make the content that they react to. That's my goal with my herd mentality show. If that makes sense. So that's what I'm thinking, guys. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I've been working on this past week, and I've just been doing a lot of jujitsu, and I've been really tired because of that. So that is what I've been working on. I'm excited. We have a bunch of awesome stuff for safe too. A bunch of really cool progress that we made. So though the nose feels better. Yeah, it feels better. I am a lot more sore in general. I just feel yeah, a lot more tired doing jujitsu so much. But yeah, dude, this guy went from 3,000 subscribers. This one video over 291,000 in 2 months. Wow. So he is not uploading like at all. Wow, wow. So this one is 2 months ago for 291, and now the deadliest man appears eaters to ever exist is 3 weeks ago. He's killing it. Huh. A lot of those people that watch that video aren't actually like subscribing to him. I'm really shocked about that. They're like seeing that but not actually subscribing. Interesting. Yeah, so like right here. Interesting. Why aren't they subscribing? He has a video here. Interesting. He's doing great though. All right, guys. Well, thank you for hanging out. I appreciate you. Hope you had a good time at the panel. Ugh. I'm gonna go to bed, and gonna work on the script. Gonna work on making the show for tomorrow. That should be fun. The show on Sunday. I think we're gonna do it. Should probably record it off. Should I record it off stream or not? I still don't know. That is something that I'm gonna think about a lot. Dude, thank you, Michael. Appreciate you. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Love you. Go be kind to someone. Bye.